Chapter 2707. Whoosh, Xia Ping reached out and collected the 3 ancient angel corpses. They were 3 world fruits, and if the world tree consumed and refined them, it would definitely benefit greatly. Right, there's also a peerless saint weapon, the Judgment Spear. He looked at the Judgment Spear, which had fallen not too far away, and immediately reached out to grab it. Boom! But at that moment, the Judgment Spear blossomed with boundless white light. This white light pierced through the void, as if communicating with the great will of endless space-time. What? Xia Ping's figure flashed, and he quickly retreated, solemnly staring at the Judgment Spear in front of him. There was a boom, and the sky above the Judgment Spear tore open a space-time rift that spanned tens of millions of kilometers. It gave birth to a huge black hole that stretched to who knew how far out. At that moment, an eye suddenly appeared in the depths of the black hole. It was completely golden, cold, and emotionless, and seemed to contain boundless origin laws. The moment this golden eye appeared, space-time within hundreds of thousands of light-years came to a standstill. It was as if all laws had stopped working, and all space had solidified. The Lord's Eye. This was the first thought that came to Xia Ping's mind. He could sense how terrifying this eye was. It seemed to come from the deepest depths of the angel race, and with just a glance, it caused all the laws of creation to stop working. But the Lord's Eye didn't seem to be fully awake. It merely glanced at the Judgment Spear, and a terrifying, devouring power was produced. In the blink of an eye, the Judgment Spear trembled slightly, and it transformed into a beam of white light that instantly shot into the black hole, quickly disappearing from the void. Whoosh, the golden eye slowly turned, looking in all directions. It seemed to be staring at Xia Ping, but this only lasted for a moment. It seemed to be incomparably tired, and even opening its eyelids was incomparably difficult. There was a boom, and in the next second, the golden angel's eye closed, and the huge spatial rift in front of it rapidly healed, returning to its original state. The peerless saint weapon, the Judgment Spear, also disappeared from Xia Ping's sight. It actually ran away. What is that golden eye? Could it be the leader of the angel race? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and fell into deep thought. To be honest, the moment the golden eye appeared, he felt an almost unparalleled and terrifying power. Even the invincible saint did not give him such immense pressure. It was as if he was a supreme existence. Fortunately, the power did not seem to have awakened completely, so it did not pay attention to him. Otherwise, he would have been done for. The supreme saint artifact, the Judgment Spear, had been taken away by it as well. He could feel that the angel race was indeed unusual. It was worthy of being one of the most mysterious races in the universe. Its degree of mystery was probably more powerful than that of the dragon race, phoenix race, and other mythological beast races. After all, although the dragon race, phoenix race, and other mythological beasts lived in their own worlds most of the time, they would occasionally appear in the real universe to communicate with other races. Otherwise, how could the legend of the giant dragon spread across the universe? However, the angel race was different. They were too closed off and only spread their faith in various parts of the universe. They never interacted with other races and formed their own entity. Their origins were rather mysterious. If there's a chance, maybe I can go to the angel race's headquarters to take a look. Xia Ping stroked his chin. He had always been incomparably curious about this race and seemed to be shrouded in mystery. Now that he had offended the angel race, he was afraid that he would definitely have to face them in the future. He had no choice but to make preparations in advance. Just as Xia Ping was about to leave, he suddenly thought of something and spoke to a part of the void. "Come out, ancient saint. You have been hiding in that place for so long. Could it be that you are still not willing to come out?" He looked indifferently at the concealed space-time in the distance. In fact, he had discovered Gu Rulai, who was hiding nearby. Although Gu Rulai felt that his concealment ability was very strong, he could not hide from Chu Li's Hell Golden Crow Eye. During the battle just now, Chu Li had not used his full strength from start to finish. A part of his strength was to guard against Gu Rulai's sneak attack. If Gu Rulai dared to make a move, Chu Li would teach him an unforgettable lesson. However, Gu Rulai seemed to be apprehensive about something and did not appear from start to finish. This also made Chu Li unable to find an excuse to flare up. At this moment, a ripple appeared in the distance, and Gu Rulai's figure immediately walked out. He was like a spring breeze as he said, "Saint Fengdu, I'm truly sorry for what happened just now. I saw you fighting intensely with many angels, so I didn't want to disturb your battle. I didn't want to disturb Saint Fengdu and cause huge trouble for you. I hope Saint Fengdu doesn't mind, I didn't mean to hide." "Hee, who would believe you? Do you really think I'm a fool?" Xia Ping sneered in his heart and looked down on Gu Rulai. He reckoned that this brat was hiding nearby to find a chance to sneak attack him. It was a pity that Gu Rulai couldn't find a flaw in him, so he didn't make a move. "Oh, so that's the case. I didn't expect Ancient Saint to have such thoughts. I almost thought that you were hiding nearby to launch a sneak attack on me." Xia Ping smiled. "Saint Fengdu is mistaken. Even if I have the guts, I'm afraid I don't have the ability." Just now, Saint Fengdu displayed his divine might and killed 3 ancient angels and dozens of ancient angels. It truly broadened my horizons. I'm afraid even I, Gu Rulai, won't be a match for Saint Fengdu. I'm truly impressed. Gu Rulai smiled. It's just that we were surrounded and attacked by many saints of the angel race. Saint Fengdu was the first to escape, saying that he wanted to call for reinforcements. I believed him and waited for a few days, but the reinforcements of the human race still didn't come. I almost became depressed from waiting. There was a dagger hidden in his smile. He was still begrudging what had happened previously. This scoundrel clearly had the ability to challenge those on a higher level and had extraordinary battle power, yet he had pretended to be a pig to eat the tiger, throwing him to be chased by a bunch of angels. It was obvious that he wanted to kill him. One could well imagine how furious he was now. If it wasn't for him being extremely shrewd, he would probably want to bite this scoundrel to death. "Ancient Saint, you're mistaken. Back then, I was indeed looking for reinforcements, but I didn't expect to encounter the void turbulence when I was escaping. I got lost in an instant and was delayed for a few months before coming out. This delayed the time to seek help. Now that I know you're in danger, I rushed back without stopping." Xia Ping said carelessly. "Bullshit." Hearing this, even though Gu Rulai was extremely shrewd, he was so angry that he fainted. "You even encountered the void turbulence? Why didn't you say that you had a stomachache and that your stomach hadn't recovered after a few months of diarrhea? You didn't even have a draft when you lied, you were simply lying with your eyes wide open. And you still rushed back without stopping. It had already been a few fucking months, the daylilies were already cold. If he was still waiting for this brat's reinforcements, he wouldn't know how many times he would have died. Honestly speaking, even though he had lived for countless eras, he had never seen such a thick-skinned ancient saint. He was simply shameless. Lying was as easy as eating and drinking. Chapter 2708. But then again, Gu Rulai was still incomparably astonished by the strength Xia Ping had displayed. Even though he had lived for so many years, he had never seen an ancient saint with such tyrannical battle prowess. It was not that he had never seen an ancient saint with a peerless saint weapon, and he was one of them. However, with the power of creation of an ancient saint, it was impossible for him to unleash the full power of a peerless saint weapon. It was like a child holding a peerless treasure sword. How could it compare to an adult elite warrior holding a peerless treasure sword? It was already not bad if they could unleash 1% of the treasure's power. It could only be said that even without that peerless saint weapon, the battle prowess of the Fengdu saint was still rather terrifying. However, with this mysterious peerless saint weapon, the Fengdu saint was like a tiger that had grown wings. Truth be told, when Gu Rulai first saw Xia Ping appear, he did have the thought of launching a sneak attack to take revenge. However, as the battle progressed, he realized that every time he wanted to launch a sneak attack, his sixth sense would give him a strong warning. He must not attack, or else he would definitely die. He believed in his battle instincts, so he suppressed the thought of attacking. In the end, Gu Rulai finally saw the terrifying battle prowess of this brat. He took out that peerless saint weapon and burst forth with chaotic demonic sounds, which simply swept through everything and killed a bunch of ancient saints. This kind of power made even him raise his eyebrows and feel apprehensive. This also made him extremely wary of this incomparably mysterious Fengdu saint, raising him to the highest level of danger. Not only was this scoundrel thick-skinned, treacherous, and shameless, he was also very powerful. He was a bad egg that was not easy to deal with. Therefore, he suppressed the thought of launching a sneak attack in the depths of his heart. Even though his whereabouts had been discovered by the other party, Gu Rulai didn't feel that it was too surprising. According to his sixth sense, this brat had probably known that he was hiding here from the start and had been on guard against him at all times. So that's how it is. Thinking about this, Gu Rulai smiled. I didn't expect Fengdu's saint to have such an encounter. It seems like I've really blamed him wrongly. Previously, I thought that Fengdu's saint was a despicable person who would abandon his teammates and escape alone. So it turns out that it was all a misunderstanding. This explains everything. Yes, everything is just a misunderstanding. Xia Ping's skin was thicker than the city walls, and he acted as though he didn't understand Gu Rulai's words. However, I didn't expect Ancient Saint to still be in the secret realm of Sound Pattern Mountain. This is unexpected. I thought you had already run away. How could I have left Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm? I haven't even waited for Saint Fengdu to bring me into the core region of Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm. I wonder where Saint Fengdu went during this period of time. Could he have obtained some treasure in some void turbulence? Gu Rulai narrowed his eyes and stared at Xia Ping. To be honest, he was extremely suspicious that the supreme grade saint artifact on the kid right now was a treasure he had obtained from the core region of the Soundline Mountain's secret plane. Otherwise, how could it be so powerful? Most importantly, the sound of annihilation from the peerless saint artifact was similar to the chaotic demonic sound and the demonic sound tide from the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm. If this wasn't a treasure from the secret realm of Sound Pattern Mountain, he wouldn't believe it. Furthermore, the reason why the kid had intentionally framed him and the angel race to fight was probably because he wanted to take the chance to delay the progress of him and the angel race so that the kid could safely enter the core region of the secret realm of Sound Pattern Mountain. If that was the case, it proved that the guy really knew all the secrets of the secret realm and had obtained endless benefits from it. Thinking about this, his heart itched even more. After all, the core region of Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm was a terrifying secret realm that had killed 4 invincible saints. The value of the treasures in it was imaginable. Which saint wouldn't drool over them? Even Gu Rulai, who was used to seeing treasures, was no exception. How could I have obtained any treasures? I was just casually strolling around. I'm afraid Ancient Saint has obtained more treasures than me during this period of time, Xia Ping said with a smile, not revealing anything. Gu Rulai couldn't do anything. If the kid didn't want to say anything, he couldn't force him either. He said, since that's the case, and now that the group of angels has been destroyed, why don't we enter the core area of the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret plane again? Didn't you say that the 2 of us can obtain the treasures inside if we work together? No, next time. The battle with the many primordial angels just now has injured my body. I'm afraid I need to return to Black Yellow City to recuperate for a period of time. I don't have the energy to enter the secret realm of Sound Pattern Mountain for the time being. Xia Ping said. Bullshit. Looking at Xia Ping's righteous expression, the corner of Gu Rulai's mouth twitched. He couldn't wait to give this scoundrel a punch. He had seen the scene of the battle clearly. How could this scoundrel have any injuries? With that tyrannical peerless saint artifact, he was simply killing gods and devils in his way. He had smashed dozens of primordial angels and 3 primordial angels along the way. He was invincible. Now, he actually said that he was injured. He didn't even blink when he lied. It was obvious that this kid had already obtained boundless benefits from the core region and didn't want to bring him along anymore. He thought that he had no value anymore, so he lied and refused. To be honest, if he had grasped the secrets of a secret realm and could obtain a large amount of treasures, he naturally wouldn't be willing to share them with others. But even so, he clearly knew that the treasures were right in front of him, but he couldn't obtain them. This kind of depressing feeling was simply indescribable. If it was possible, Gu Rulai simply wanted to use force and capture this kid, torture him, and force out all of his secrets. But after weighing their strengths, he gave up. If he was still the invincible sage from before, a demigod expert, he might have a chance. But now that his cultivation was at the primordial sage realm, it would be slightly troublesome. He didn't have absolute confidence that he could defeat this monster with a peerless saint artifact. I see. That's truly a pity. I hope we'll have a chance to work together again in the future. Gu Rulai took a deep breath and forcefully suppressed the grievance in his heart. Don't worry, there will definitely be a chance. You and I are both sages of the human race, and we're all brothers. If we don't take advantage of our own people, do we have to take advantage of outsiders? Xia Ping laughed. Fengdu Sage is still so forthright. I'll wait and see. That's right, I remember that there's a pretty good restaurant in Xianhuang City with delicious food. Why don't we go there for a meal? Gu Rulai also laughed heartily and invited them. I didn't expect Ancient Sage to be so generous to actually treat us. In that case, it would be impolite of me to refuse. Xia Ping said casually. Hearing this, the corner of Gu Rulai's mouth twitched. He had only said that they would have a meal. When did he say that he would treat them? This scoundrel was simply a miser. Even if he died, he would still take advantage of him. However, there was nothing he could do. Luckily, a meal didn't cost much. The two of them were very enthusiastic and flattered each other as though they were old friends at first sight. They were just short of cutting off a chicken's head and burning yellow paper to become sworn brothers. Chapter 2709. A day later, Xia Ping and Gu Rulai returned to Xianhuang City, and the two of them had a meal before going their separate ways. Master, this Gu Rulai is incomparably sinister, and leaving him alive would be a huge problem. Why didn't you take the chance to kill him in Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm? The Green Bull couldn't resist asking. Honestly speaking, this Gu Rulai was too dangerous. He was full of schemes and had many tricks up his sleeves. Anyone who provoked such an enemy would find it incomparably difficult to deal with. He felt that he should take the chance to get rid of him. No, I wanted to do it at the start, but after thinking about it, I decided to give up. Xia Ping shook his head. Why? The Green Bull was filled with suspicions. Because I can't kill him. Xia Ping said seriously. Can't kill him? The Green Bull was stunned. Xia Ping nodded his head. That's right, he can't be killed. This person is the saint of creation of the ancient immemorial era, and he could fool so many saints by faking his death. He could even retain his memories and reincarnate. How could such a person be killed so easily? Even if we killed him now, he would probably be reborn in another place. He might even hide in the dark and use all kinds of schemes to catch people off guard. Since that's the case, we might as well let him live. That way, we can still find out what he does normally. So I see. Hearing this, the Green Bull couldn't help but nod his head in agreement. This Gu Rulai's divine art was simply too powerful. Just the divine art of reincarnation was enough to put him in an invincible position. This divine art was even more terrifying than the undying body of a saint. It could be considered an undying body, because even if he was killed, the other party would reincarnate and be reborn in another place. Furthermore, with his abilities, no matter where he was reborn, he could easily return to his peak. It was only a matter of time. Just killing Gu Rulai here wouldn't be of any use and would instead alert the enemy. But if that's the case, wouldn't no one be able to kill Gu Rulai? At this moment, the Green Bull also felt that this Gu Rulai was extremely troublesome. He was completely different from the enemies they had met before. His survival abilities were simply too strong, and he couldn't be mentioned in the same breath as the other saints. He felt that if he met such an enemy, he wouldn't know how to defeat him. After all, the other party had the divine art of undying. Once he died, he could reincarnate and start over countless times. Ancient Rulai could endure countless failures. However, it was different for his side. If they failed once, they would be consigned to eternal damnation. It could be said that Gu Rulai was undefeatable from the start. To him, even if he failed in this lifetime, he could just start again in the next lifetime. This is too terrifying. Just what kind of fortuitous encounter did this Gu Rulai have to actually possess such an ability? This is simply unimaginable. Corinne couldn't help but sigh with emotion. He was also experienced and knowledgeable, but he had never met such a terrifying saint. Even the saints of the invincible realm were far inferior to this person. No, it's not that I can't kill him. If the reincarnation brush in my body can be completely unsealed, I can unleash the true power of the reincarnation brush. With one stroke, I can completely annihilate his countless pieces of soul along the countless karmic lines. Then he will die in the samsara, never to be resurrected. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. The divine artifact reincarnation brush in his body had such an ability. This divine artifact was specialized in killing that kind of immortal devil god. It eradicated them from the root so that they had nowhere to hide. It shattered the samsara and destroyed the karmic lines. However, for the time being, he couldn't remove all the seals on the reincarnation brush, nor could he unleash the full power of the reincarnation brush. Therefore, for the time being, he wouldn't act rashly and let Gurulai continue to live. Indeed, the power of the reincarnation brush is beyond imagination. It's simply not a magic treasure of the mortal world. Even among the divine artifacts, I'm afraid it's one of the strongest divine artifacts. Corinne and Green Ox couldn't help but nod. They felt that the reincarnation brush at its peak could really kill this demon. However, at present, the reincarnation brush could only unleash a portion of its power. It was still far from its peak. Alright, let's go back first. The harvest this time is great. I don't know what I've plundered from those invincible saints. Xia Ping temporarily put the matter of Gurulai aside. He first returned to his manor in Xianhuang City. Anyway, Gurulai couldn't pose much of a threat to him for the time being. After more than 10 days, world-shaking news came from the secret realm of Sound Pattern Mountain. There were saints heading to the secret realm of Sound Pattern Mountain. They unintentionally wanted to explore the core region and investigate the secrets within. Unexpectedly, there were saints who discovered the core region of Sound Pattern Mountain. The god's barrier had completely collapsed and disintegrated, revealing the situation within the core region. When this news spread, it immediately shocked the entire Xianhuang continent and even the entire universe. Many saints heard of this news. After all, the secret realm of Sound Pattern Mountain was a famous place among the saints. Moreover, this place had once lost 4 invincible saints. It was enough for countless saints to think about this place and think that there was definitely an incredible treasure inside. Therefore, countless saints headed to the secret realm of Sound Pattern Mountain to explore. However, when they arrived, they were all dumbfounded. They were dumbfounded and in disbelief. Damn it, what's going on? Why is there nothing in the core region of Sound Pattern Mountain? Where are the treasures? Where did the treasures go? A saint scolded. Originally, he wanted to come to this place and take the chance to snatch the treasures. However, who would have thought that after he entered this place, he couldn't find any treasures? There wasn't even a stone. It was as if he had been robbed. The place was even cleaner than his face. It was like plucking feathers from a goose. He had never seen such a clean mountain before. It was as if it had been cleaned by someone. Could it be that the core region of Sound Pattern Mountain is a scam? A scam that has spanned countless eras? A saint couldn't help but say, "Bullshit." A saint at the side sneered. If it's really a scam, how did those 4 invincible realm saints die? Aren't those saints who died in the demon sound tide wronged? Also, how did the sound pattern stones come to be in this secret realm? He asked a series of rhetorical questions. Many saints were speechless. They also didn't know how to explain this. If it was a scam, didn't those saints who died here die wronged? At this moment, an Archean saint spoke and made such a judgment. It seems that there's already a saint who got here first and took all the treasures in this place. That's why this happened. Chapter 27:10. What? As soon as he said that, the faces of the saints changed. Actually, they had also thought of this possibility, but they still did not dare to believe it, so they did not bring up this idea. Right? A saint must have gotten here before us. Another primordial saint nodded. Originally, the divine barrier here was extremely sturdy. Saints below the invincible realm could not enter. After hundreds of millions of eras, there were no problems with the god's barrier. Even though very few saints reached this place, some would occasionally come in to try their luck. But such a strong god's barrier suddenly disappeared. Someone must have obtained the treasure here, which caused the divine barrier to collapse and lose its source of energy. He also voiced out his speculation. That is indeed possible. Another primordial saint said in a low voice, "Just now, I checked the surroundings and found that the restriction formations of the gods were engraved in all directions. It seems to be a relic from the era of the previous universe. There should have been a huge mountain here called Sound Pattern Mountain, which is the source of the demonic sound tide. But now, it has disappeared without a trace. Someone must have taken it away." His words were resolute and decisive. The saints could not help but nod. They had to admit this. Who exactly took away the treasure in the secret realm of Sound Pattern Mountain? And what treasure is hidden in the secret realm of Sound Pattern Mountain? A saint could not help but ask. Because a secret realm that could kill an invincible saint and was related to the gods of the era of the previous universe, one could imagine how precious it was. They all wanted to know the secret inside like crazy. I'm not sure. I'm afraid that a saint discovered the secret of the secret realm of Sound Pattern Mountain and took away the treasure without a trace. Only when the restriction formations here collapsed will we have a chance to find out the truth. A saint said in a low voice. Can we find out who came to the secret realm of Sound Pattern Mountain? A saint could not help but ask. He wanted to find out which saint had entered this place. If he knew the name list, he might be able to find the person who had obtained the treasure. Many sages were tempted as well, as the treasures in the secret realm of Sound Pattern Mountain were simply too mysterious and tempting. It was worth it no matter how high the price was. You want to find out which sage has entered the Sound Pattern Mountain secret realm? How are we going to investigate? This is a public place, and there are no so-called records at all. Saints of any race can come in, and to find the other party is like looking for a needle in a haystack. One of the primordial saints sneered. He thought that it was useless. It's a pity that the treasure of the secret realm of Sound Pattern Mountain was snatched away by a mysterious sage. I wonder who the lucky one is. I'm really curious. If one really obtains such a treasure, one's name will shake the universe sooner or later. At that time, one will know who snatched away the peerless treasure from the Sound Pattern Mountain's mystic realm. That's indeed the case. Let's wait and see then. Seems like there are only 9 out of the top 10 dangerous secret grounds left in the Shenhuang continent. How unexpected. Many sages discussed among themselves. Not long after, the news of the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm collapsing and the treasure in the core region being snatched away by the mysterious sage spread across the entire universe. Countless sages knew about it. The sages of all the major races were guessing which sage had snatched away the treasure and how much impact the treasure would have on the situation of the entire universe. However, because the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm was too mysterious, there wasn't much news about it. They didn't even know what treasure it was. Therefore, they only discussed it for a while. At this moment, in a certain mansion in the Shenhuang city of the Shenhuang continent, Gu Rulai was at. Interesting. The core region of the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm actually collapsed, and the treasures inside have been plundered by someone. Not even a hair is left. It seems like this is definitely done by Sage Fengdu. Gu Rulai's eyes revealed a glimmer of brilliance. He was 100% sure that this was done by the mysterious Sage Fengdu. Also, that extremely powerful supreme-grade sacred weapon, Bell of Chaos, could also be a supreme treasure obtained from the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm. Therefore, this magic treasure was able to explode with such earth-shattering power. With the Bell of Chaos in his hand, that brat could sweep through everything. Along the way, he had smashed dozens of ancient sages and suppressed 3 ancient sages. His combat power was so strong that it made people's hair stand on end. Even the supreme-grade sacred weapon, the picture of creation of heavens, couldn't be compared to it. No matter what, the picture of creation of heavens wasn't a purely battle-type supreme-grade sacred weapon. From a certain perspective, it was only a support-type supreme-grade sacred weapon. Therefore, its combat power wasn't considered outstanding. Should I leak this news? If the other sages knew that this brat had obtained the treasure from the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm, I'm afraid this brat would be badly battered and cause huge trouble. Gu Rulai narrowed his eyes. If he were to spread this news, from the second day onwards, Sage Fengdu would become the target of public criticism. Countless sages would want to find out about the treasures on him. Even invincible sages would covet him, which would cause huge trouble for him. At the same time, he could also vent his anger. No. Forget it. This is just a small trick. It can't do anything to him at all. Instead, this method will alert the enemy and make him vigilant. In just a short while, Gu Rulai gave up on this method because it was just an unorthodox method. Although this matter would indeed cause trouble for the brat, it was only a small trouble. With that supreme-grade sacred weapon, the Bell of Chaos, this fellow's combat power was invincible in the primordial realm. He could easily crush any primordial sage. If ordinary sages dared to cause trouble, they would be courting death. As for the sages who had reached the invincible realm, they were also the patriarchs of the human race. They wouldn't covet the treasures of the younger generation. This was also the agreement between the patriarchs of the human race. If Sage Fengdu stayed in the human race's encampment, the sages of the other races wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Therefore, this move could only annoy him and not kill him. Of course, most importantly, he also wanted the treasure on Sage Fengdu. If this matter was leaked, then there would be too many sages fighting for the treasure with him. If he didn't leak it, then he would be the only sage who knew this secret. In other words, if he found a chance and killed Sage Fengdu, then all the treasures from the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm would belong to him. From then on, no one would know who obtained the treasures from the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm. Therefore, there wasn't much benefit in leaking this matter. Instead, there would be endless trouble. The treasures from the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm definitely belong to me, Gu Rulai. Gu Rulai clenched his fists tightly. He was determined to get it. Chapter 27:11. In another place, the angel race's headquarters was a mysterious place. At this moment, many ancient angels and demigod-level angels were gathered together. They had also received the news that the plan of the angel race had failed completely. To think that after so many years of planning, it still failed. Is this what they call, man proposes, heaven disposes? A three-eyed angel said, "Shut up." Another angel wielding a long spear bellowed furiously, "Wasting so much of our angel race's resources and time, expending so much effort, and even causing many of our race's elites to die tragically in the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm. How can you say that man proposes but God disposes? The human saint who killed our elites, I will definitely not let him off." A terrifying killing intent exploded from his body and surged into the clouds. The surrounding angels didn't dare to speak and just trembled. They knew how furious this demigod-level angel was. Based on the intelligence, the one who killed our race is a human saint. His name is Feng Du and he is an immemorial ancient realm late-stage saint. It is said that he has a helper beside him called Gu Rulai. He is an immemorial ancient realm pinnacle saint with extraordinary battle prowess. A bespectacled angel said at the side. During this period of time, the angels had also been gathering information. According to the memories of the dead angels before they died, as well as a lot of information, they found out who the murderer of the angels was. Impossible! Another golden-haired angel frowned. This time, our race sent 3 immemorial ancient realm pinnacle angels and dozens of immemorial ancient realm angels. Other than an invincible saint, who could kill them so easily. They didn't even have time to send a distress signal. If not for Master's connection with the Judgment Spear and being able to summon it back in time, even the Judgment Spear would have been lost. Such a loss is immeasurable. He didn't believe that a mere immemorial ancient realm saint could wipe out so many elites of the angel race. It was just a joke. Could it be that Gu Rulai? However, Gu Rulai is indeed a monster genius of the human race. He reached immemorial ancient realm in such a short period of time and is said to be one of the human saints with the highest chance of becoming a demigod. His battle prowess is not to be underestimated. Could he be the mastermind and Saint Feng Du is the scapegoat? An angel guessed. No, this matter was indeed done by the Feng Du saint. It has already been confirmed. The thing that killed so many of our clan's elite angels was a peerless sacred weapon in the hands of the Feng Du saint. It's called the Bell of Chaos. The bespectacled angel said in a low voice, "The might of this peerless saint artifact is boundlessly terrifying, and it's able to play the sound of annihilation, shatter time and space, shake the universe, and annihilate everything. In fact, this magic treasure can even cause a demonic sound tide. It's like the might of the heavens. My clan's elites couldn't withstand it and were all killed by the demonic sound. Their corpses and souls shattered. It revealed a lot of information. A supreme saint artifact, the Bell of Chaos? Just what kind of arcane treasure is this? Why have I never heard of it before? Furthermore, it can cause a demonic sound tide. Could it be related to the Sound Pattern Mountain's arcane realm?" The blonde angel narrowed his eyes. "It's not that it's impossible, but it's definitely related. I suspect that Saint Feng Du obtained this magic treasure from the core region of the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret plane. That's why it possesses the boundless power to kill my clan's elites." The bespectacled angel said, "That's impossible. My clan has spent countless years, but it's still difficult to enter the core region of the Sound Pattern Mountain. Only a demigod-level angel from the primordial era had once forced his way in. Unfortunately, he has already perished within, and there's no news of him ever since. Since then, it's been extremely difficult for us to enter. If even we can't do it, how can that human do it?" The blonde angel didn't believe in such a thing. Nothing is impossible. The universe is vast, and there are all sorts of strange things. Perhaps this human saint has grasped a divine ability that we can't even imagine, or perhaps he's extremely lucky and discovered a certain flaw in the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret plane. In any case, he has indeed entered the core region, and he might even have obtained the God of War's inheritance. The bespectacled angel said firmly. "What?" Hearing this, the eyes of the angels present revealed a frightening glint. The reason why their clan had been staying in the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret plane and not leaving was because they knew that this secret plane contained the God of War's inheritance. This was also the God's inheritance that they desired the most. Once they obtained it, it would definitely greatly increase the strength of their clan. However, this plan had failed, and the God of War's inheritance might even be obtained by the human saint. How could they accept such a thing? You must be joking. How is such a thing possible? Even if he really broke through the restriction array inside, it wouldn't be that easy for him to obtain the God of War's inheritance. An angel said, "At first, I also thought that it was impossible. However, this matter has proven that the restriction array of the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret plane had collapsed not long ago, and there's nothing inside. The God of War's inheritance must have been snatched away by this Feng Du saint." The bespectacled angel felt that there was no doubt about this matter. The angels had nothing to say because this was an ironclad fact. There was no need to doubt or refute it. However, when they thought about how the treasure that they had worked hard for countless years without being able to obtain was so easily snatched away by a human saint, the grievance in their hearts was simply indescribable. If that's the case, why don't we release this matter and let the human race become the target of public criticism? After all, this is the inheritance of a god. It will definitely cause that Feng Du saint to be badly battered, and he will be hunted down by countless saints. The golden-haired angel gave his suggestion. After all, the human race is a peak race. How could they surrender so easily? Moreover, the invasion of the demons from the abyss is imminent. Many of the invincible sages do not want to have internal strife at this time. Everything should be done in a stable manner. This matter will definitely be suppressed, and there will not be any ripples. The three-eyed angel said in a low voice. He felt that this plan was useless. If it was any other time, the various races might fight over this matter, and they might even start a war. However, the demons from the abyss were about to invade the real universe. Compared to the demons from the abyss, everything else would be put aside. No one was allowed to destroy the unity at this time. After all, any saint from any race could obtain the treasure and the inheritance of a god. If any saint wanted to snatch the inheritance, the various races would die in internal strife sooner or later. Under the suppression of a demigod, no saint from any race would stand out at this time. Damn it, this Feng Du saint has appeared in a good time. The golden-haired angel clenched his fists. If this was before the invasion of the demons from the abyss, countless saints from the various races would have fought over this matter. However, the situation had completely changed now. The central cosmos, which was originally in the middle of a war, was now at war. The battles between saints had decreased by a lot and were no longer as intense as before. Chapter 27:12. If that's the case, then we can only watch helplessly as this sage Fengdu gets the inheritance of the god of war and kills the elites of our angel race. However, we can't do anything to him. An angel gritted his teeth and was unwilling to accept this. That's right. This human sage has obtained the inheritance of the god of war. In the future, his cultivation will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. He will become a demigod or even a god. At that time, will we still be able to kill him? The golden-haired angel said unwillingly. Fool, it's not that easy to become a demigod or even a god. The bespectacled angel sneered. Although there are very few sages who have obtained the inheritance of a god, it's not like there aren't any of them after so many years. Have you seen any sages who have ascended to become a god? The inheritance of a god is naturally precious. It can bring endless benefits to a sage and reduce many detours. However, it's not omnipotent. To become a god, one still needs to rely on the right time, place, and people. It's not that easy. I dare say that even if this sage Fengdu has obtained the inheritance of the god of war, it will still take him billions of years to become an immemorial sage or even an invincible sage. Not to mention becoming a god. In a short period of time, he won't be able to pose any major threat to our angel race. We can rest assured about this. He felt that there was no need to worry about this for the time being. Even so, billions of years is just a snap of a finger for a sage. It's only a matter of time before Sage Fengdu becomes a huge threat to our angel race. The golden-haired angel said, "Of course we know about this. Therefore, we won't give him much opportunity to grow." The three-eyed angel's eyes flashed coldly. Our angel race will soon find a great opportunity. The demigod angels will directly attack and kill this Fengdu. We must nip the danger in the bud. We definitely won't give him any time or opportunity to grow completely. A terrifying murderous aura emanated from its body. Therefore, the matter of Sage Fengdu obtaining the inheritance of the god of war needs to be kept a secret for the time being. We can't leak this matter out. Otherwise, it might attract the attention of all the races in the universe, including those races that survived from the previous universe era. Those old farts are all extremely troublesome and are all our competitors. The three-eyed angel clenched his fists. We'll personally kill Fengdu and take back the god of war's legacy. That way, the legacy will still belong to us angels. Right now, we're just temporarily entrusting the legacy to Fengdu. There's nothing to worry about. I see. The golden-haired angel nodded. He also understood the plan of the demigod angels. No wonder they did not agree to reveal this matter. Revealing it would not bring any benefits. Instead, it would attract the greed of countless old undying beings. This would instead be a great hindrance to the angel clan's movements. When you kill Fengdu, remember to call me. I'll personally kill this fiend and pierce his soul and body. I'll even kill his entire clan. The angel wielding the spear was boiling with murderous intent. It shook the void and sent chills down one's spine. It was the demigod angel that loved to fight. The number of lives that had died in its hands was simply innumerable. It had once wielded a spear and destroyed worlds one after another. All existences that did not believe in the Lord had to die. All heretics would be burned to death on iron pillars. Don't worry. It won't take too long. The three-eyed angel's eyes were cold and emotionless. A few days later, in the Shenhuang city, over the past few days, Xia Ping had been taking inventory of his many gains in the Sound Pattern Mountain secret realm. Other than the many treasures left behind by the god of war and a large number of high-quality sound pattern stones, there were also many other treasures. The most important treasures were naturally the 4 demigod experts that had died in the Sound Pattern Mountain secret realm. Although they had died in the Sound Pattern Mountain, the treasures on their bodies had been left behind. Even though these might not be all the treasures on their bodies, Just a portion of them was enough to make countless saints drool. After all, the value of the treasures that could attract the attention of demigod experts was unimaginable. Firstly, there were those sage medicines that were billions of years old. This time, he had plundered 300 of them. As these sage medicines were stored in the spatial ring, time and space were in a still state. Therefore, these sage medicines did not show any signs of losing their medicinal potency. Instead, they were no different from billions of years ago. We're rich, we're rich. We're rich this time. Seeing this, the green bull was extremely excited. Sand datura, hellfire lotus seed, 7 fantasy green spirit saliva, clear heart 3-leaf grass, Buddha heart fruit, and so on. These are all sage medicines that are almost extinct in the universe. Their numbers can be counted on one hand. I didn't expect to find them on the bodies of these few invincible saints. We're rich this time. He carefully counted these top-notch sage medicines. Every single one of them was priceless. They were treasures that could not be bought with money. They could probably only be exchanged with the bodies of invincible saints. In fact, they had to be treasures that could interest the invincible saints. Otherwise, it would be impossible to exchange for them. Moreover, these sage medicines were very active, as if they had just been plucked yesterday. Therefore, they could still survive and be planted in the world of the classic of mountains and seas. They could even use these sage medicines as a foundation to obtain more sage medicine seeds and expand the planting of the medicine field. Therefore, one could imagine how excited the green bull was right now. It could not be described with words. This is indeed a good harvest. I didn't expect the spatial rings of these invincible saints to be so extraordinary. They have the effect of still time and space. I'm afraid these spatial rings were specially forged to store these sage medicines. Xia Ping was very satisfied, but the harvest this time was not just this. In addition to the sage medicines, there were also all kinds of cosmic-level ores that these demigod powerhouses had plundered. These were all precious ores that they had obtained after plundering secret realms in the universe for who knows how many years. And the degree of preciousness of these ores was no less than these sage medicines. Yin-yang astral silver sand, cosmos crimson sun iron, crossing light crystal, fairy stone, realm stone, and so on. These are all incredible cosmic ores. These are also unique gems that are difficult to find. As expected of the invincible saints, they are really too rich. Corinne could not help but exclaim. He could see that these materials were basically top-notch ores for refining sage artifacts. Even the basic materials for many peerless sage artifacts were used in these materials. He did not know how much effort these invincible saints had spent to collect them, but now they had all benefited from it. It was simply a super windfall. Even if an invincible saint saw this scene, he would probably salivate and be completely envious. Chapter 27:13. If Xiao Jin were to devour these ores, her strength would probably rise to a new level. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. He felt that Xiao Jin's strength had stagnated for a period of time. If she were to devour these universe ores, her cultivation would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. After all, the golden slime's evolution depended entirely on devouring universe ores. Without external resources, it would be very difficult for her to evolve. However, with these resources, she could evolve faster than anyone else. Of course, other than the sage medicine and the universe-grade ores, these 4 demigod powerhouses still had many unique treasures on them, the kind that would make countless sages drool. However, the treasure that Xia Ping was most excited about was the treasure on the demigod abyssal demon. It was a dark gold abyssal token. It was unknown what material was used to forge it, but even a peerless sage weapon would not be able to destroy it. The dark gold token was engraved with dense abyssal runes. It seemed to communicate with a certain dimensional space-time and connect to the deepest part of the abyss. In fact, he had also sent his divine sense into it in an attempt to find out more about the dark gold token. In the end, he discovered that the dark gold token seemed to contain a unique spatial coordinate that was connected to a certain abyssal continent. It seemed that by circulating the token's power, one could open up a passage to the abyss and enter the abyssal world. So that's how it is. Ever since the myriad races sealed the abyss world, the reason why these abyssal demons were able to escape from the abyss was probably because they had long mastered some unique and hidden spatial nodes. They temporarily hid this place and used it as a backdoor to leave and enter the modern universe. This demigod demon probably used this backdoor to enter the modern universe. Xia Ping came to a sudden realization. He finally understood the function of the dark gold token. Only with such a token could one pass the test of the abyssal will and enter the abyssal world, opening up a temporary passage to the abyssal world. Such tokens were rare, and only demigod demons had the right to obtain them. In fact, if this demigod demon had not been unlucky enough to die in the Sound Pattern Mountain's secret realm, nobody would have been able to obtain this abyssal token from it. Can I use this token to enter the real abyssal world? Xia Ping touched his chin and was instantly tempted. To be honest, even though the abyss demons had fought against the myriad races in the primordial era, the myriad races didn't have a special understanding of the abyss demons. Even though some invincible sages had joined forces and fought their way into the abyssal world, they were unable to withstand the erosion of the abyssal energy before they could reach the deepest part. They quickly retreated. The sages only knew that the abyss world was made up of many abyss continents, but they didn't know anything else. Therefore, the myriad races in the heavens did not have a special understanding of the abyss demons. They only knew that these abyss demons were a vicious and evil race that saw the lives of the myriad races as food. Everyone had the right to kill them. The abyssal war is imminent, and a great calamity is about to descend. I'm afraid I need to find a chance to understand the abyssal demon race. As the saying goes, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will always be victorious. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. To be honest, he felt that he had too little understanding of the abyss. Without understanding this opponent, if he were to fight rashly, he would definitely suffer heavy losses. He might even suffer a crushing defeat. Therefore, he had to find an opportunity to thoroughly understand this race. He had once entered the dragon world and understood this race that had come from the previous universe. He had once entered hell and understood the nether ghosts, demons, void monsters, and other terrifying races. Although he had also entered the abyss continent and killed many abyss demons, he did not know where these abyss demons came from or how they were born. If it was in the past, he wouldn't have such thoughts. However, his cultivation had already advanced to immemorial ancient late stage. With the bell of chaos in his hands, he could totally crush ancient sages. Unless he met a demigod powerhouse, he wouldn't be able to do anything to him. It could be said that he already had a foothold in the universe and didn't need to worry about encountering opponents that were too strong or encountering unpredictable dangers. Even if he were to enter the abyss world now, he wouldn't encounter too much danger. Of course, accidents could always happen. After all, the abyss was also the territory of the abyss demons. If his identity as a human were to be exposed, one could imagine the dangers that he would encounter. No matter what, there was no one in the world who could be 100% sure. Beep beep. At this moment, the system's voice rang out. Congratulations, host. You have attracted the hatred of many angels of the angel race. This time, you have received a total of 300 hatred crystals. I hope you can continue to work hard. 300 hatred crystals? Hearing this, Xia Ping opened his eyes and was instantly overjoyed. Previously, he had 9,500 hatred crystals on him. Now that there were 300 more, it would be 9,800 hatred crystals. And this number wasn't far from 10,000 hatred crystals. I still need 200 hatred crystals. Xia Ping touched his chin. He felt that it was time for him to find a chance to obtain the remaining 200 hatred crystals. He didn't know what kind of reward he would receive from the system after obtaining 10,000 hatred crystals. He had always been looking forward to it. If he could get the system's reward, it would definitely increase his strength greatly. Of course, the price of obtaining these 300 hatred crystals wasn't small either. His actions this time had completely infuriated the angel race, causing the demigod powerhouses of the angel race to set up a trap to kill him. One could imagine how great the hatred of the angel race was. However, the angel race couldn't be blamed. This time, he had ruined their plan of billions of eras and killed many elites of the angel race. Any race would go crazy and wish that they could kill him. It was true that as long as he hid in the human camp, these demigod powerhouses wouldn't be able to kill him. However, it wasn't his style to always hide in the human camp. Moreover, one could only be a thief for 1,000 days. There was no such thing as guarding against thieves for 1,000 days. It seems that I have to enter the abyss world this time. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. Originally, he was more or less hesitant about whether he should enter the abyss world once, but after knowing this news, he felt that it was better to enter the abyss world to avoid the limelight. As long as he hid in the abyss world, no matter how powerful the angel race was, they wouldn't be able to find him. This time, the angel race would probably suffer a big loss. Moreover, he could also enter the abyss world and continue to improve his cultivation. If he could advance to the archaic realm, then even if he faced a demigod powerhouse, he wouldn't need to worry too much. But no matter what, this was a plan to kill two birds with one stone. Chapter 27:14. Several days later, Xia Ping prepared everything and left the black-yellow city silently. He was not discovered by any sage. He moved forward according to the spatial coordinates of the Abyss token and found the spatial node to enter the Abyss world. He searched for 7 days and 7 nights. Finally, he found the location of the spatial node inside the Abyss token. In fact, this place was not very far from the black-yellow continent. It happened to be near the black-yellow continent, among the islands that were like stars. This spatial node was one of the uninhabited islands without any resources. If not for the guidance of the Abyss token, he probably would not have found this place. In fact, even if a sage passed by this place accidentally, due to the concealment of the Abyss formation, no sage would be able to detect that there was a dimensional passageway to the Abyss world. Is this the place? Xia Ping stood on this nameless island and used the golden crow's hell eyes to penetrate the void. He immediately saw a spatial node hidden in the depths of the dimensional void. The spatial node was covered by layers of abyssal restrictions. If it wasn't for the fact that he could see through the illusions with the golden crow's eyes of hell, he wouldn't have been able to find it. This spatial node was filled with densely packed abyssal restrictions. There was also a tyrannical abyss gate that suppressed the depths of spacetime. Without the Abyss token, even an invincible sage would not be able to open this place. This place was probably one of the most important strongholds of the Abyss world. It was used at critical moments and had never been exposed. This might also be one of the backup plans left by the Abyss demons in the modern universe. Abyss token, open the Abyss gate in front of me. Thinking of this, Xia Ping did not hesitate. He immediately used the magic power in his body and instilled it into the Abyss token that he had completely refined. A huge amount of magic power was instilled in. Boom! In the next second, the Abyss token seemed to resonate with the Abyss gate of this spacetime node. Suddenly, the Abyss gate appeared from the depths of spacetime. Immediately, a deep, dark, and noble gate with countless abyssal runes carved on it appeared. It emitted a terrifying, all-devouring abyssal aura as if it was eroding all life. Just standing in front of the Abyss gate made people feel as if they were about to suffocate. In fact, that gate was an extremely terrifying abyssal magic tool. If it wasn't for the person holding the abyssal token summoning it, it would have definitely been devoured by the abyssal gate and turned into food. In Xia Ping's eyes, he saw that this abyssal gate was a terrifying abyssal monster. Although it seemed to be motionless, it was actually a living creature. It was as if there were countless vengeful souls and an unfathomable aura of blood in the depths of its body. No one knew how many lives this abyssal monster had devoured. Who dares disturb my slumber? At this moment, the abyssal gate seemed to have awakened. A dark skeleton appeared from the depths of the abyssal gate. It emitted a twisted, bloody, cursed, and cold aura. It was as if it was the most evil thing in the world. Oh no, this door is actually alive? Xia Ping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. He immediately put on the non-phase mask and transformed into the appearance of the invincible realm demon. Although he didn't know what had happened for the time being, it was better not to reveal his true face at the moment, And transforming into this invincible realm demon was the best choice. After all, this abyssal token had originally belonged to this invincible realm demon. It's actually the power demon king. Long time no see. The abyssal demon gate opened its eyes and stared at Xia Ping. It seemed to have recalled Xia Ping's original identity as this demon. I thought you had disappeared for such a long time and had long died in the modern universe. I didn't expect you to still be alive. Its eyes looked at Xia Ping with interest, as if it didn't expect the demon that Xia Ping had disguised as to still be alive. After all, it had disappeared for a very long time and never opened the abyssal gate to return to the abyssal world. Many abyssal kings thought it was already dead. In reality, this invincible realm demon had long died in the Sound Pattern Mountain secret realm. However, it had entered quietly and wasn't discovered by anyone. Therefore, no one knew that a demigod-level demon had actually appeared in the Sound Pattern Mountain secret realm. Therefore, many abyssal kings only suspected that it was dead, but they weren't 100% sure. After all, some abyssal kings might have been trapped in some universe secret realm, or they might have been plotting something in secret and thus hidden for countless eras. Power Demon King. Hearing this, Xia Ping's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that the identity of this demigod-level demon that he had disguised as was not simple. It was actually called the Power Demon King. However, thinking about it carefully, it was very normal. Even in the abyssal world, invincible realm saints were absolute experts. Such existences were known as abyssal kings. System, may I know what demon is this? Xia Ping asked secretly. This is one of the most ancient existences in the abyssal world and one of the most powerful abyssal kings. Its name is Abyssal Demon Gate. It has thousands of clones and its specific abilities are unknown. Its strength is unknown and it is unfathomable. The system replied. Abyssal Demon Gate. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He didn't expect the abyssal world to have such a unique, ancient, and powerful existence. The abyssal world was indeed unfathomable. It seemed that even in the primordial age, the name of the Abyssal Demon Gate didn't appear. It seemed to be hidden in history and only the demons of the abyssal world knew about it. Thinking about this, he said, "Stop talking nonsense and quickly open the gate. I want to go back to the abyssal world." What a rude kid. If I didn't sign an alliance with you abyssal kings, I would have sent you to the end of the universe and sent you to the Forbidden Darkness Zone. The Abyssal Demon Gate glared at Xia Ping fiercely. It seemed to be so angry that even its beard was curling up. Forget it, forget it. I am a magnanimous person. I can't be bothered with a kid like you. Since you want to go in, then hurry up and scram. Don't appear in front of me again. Very soon, the Abyssal Demon Gate yawned. It seemed like it didn't care about the personality of the Power Demon King. It was as if the Power Demon King was unreasonable and rude. Or perhaps, it wasn't interested in anything in the first place. Rumble. In an instant, the Abyssal Demon Gate opened. A deep and serene passage appeared. It seemed to be connected to the end of the abyss. There seemed to be a terrifying abyss aura coming from the depths of the passage. If it was an ordinary sage, even if it was an invincible sage, they would have a headache if they entered. It was a dangerous place. Even if they had the chance, they wouldn't be willing to enter. However, Xia Ping was different. The abyssal demon Qi couldn't do anything to him. In the next second, he stepped into the Abyssal Demon Gate. Chapter 27:15. Interesting. The Abyss Demon Gate sensed Xia Ping's aura disappearing into the abyss passageway and his eyes lit up. What did the Power Demon King do after disappearing for such a long time? Is he plotting something? Or did he just come out after being trapped in a dangerous place? It seems like the Power Demon King is different from before. To be honest, he was very curious about what happened to the Power Demon King. After all, he had disappeared for such a long time and didn't even return to the Abyss continent. This was very unusual. He had lived for so many years and there weren't many things that interested him like this. But this kid has been dead for so long. He's long gone. The Abyss now isn't the Abyss of the primordial era. The situation is completely different from the past. Will this kid's appearance disrupt the current situation in the Abyss? Interesting. The Abyss Demon Gate smiled. He seemed to be thinking about what kind of earth-shattering changes the famous Power Demon King would bring to the Abyss world after returning to the Abyss. After all, many demons thought that the Power Demon King was dead. His subordinates and many forces had been divided by the other Abyss Kings. There was no longer a place for the Power Demon King in the Abyss world. But no matter what, the Power Demon King was the Abyss King. Just his strength alone wasn't to be underestimated. No matter which side he fell on, it would cause a huge commotion in the Abyss world. He could imagine what kind of interesting changes the Power Demon King would undergo after returning to the Abyss. Forget it. No matter what happened to him, he must have a motive for choosing to appear at such a crucial moment. I shall wait and see. The Abyss Demon Gate yawned. He wasn't anxious at all. Even in the primordial era, when the Abyss world was fighting against the myriad races, he didn't make a move. He just observed quietly as if no matter what happened, it had nothing to do with him. He was just providing teleportation passageways for the demons to connect to different parts of the void. Hence, no sage knew of his name. He seemed to be hidden in the shadows of history. Boom. In the next second, he hid in the depths of space and time. His aura disappeared without a trace. In fact, the Abyss Demon Gate had thousands of clones. The reason why his soul woke up was because he sensed the aura of the Abyss King that hadn't appeared for a long time. If ordinary demons opened the Abyss Demon Gate, they wouldn't be able to alarm such an existence. However, after satisfying his curiosity, the Abyss Demon Gate went back to sleep. Just as Xia Ping passed through the Abyssal Demon Gate and disappeared into the spatial passage, some demigod-level angels suddenly stood up in the angel race's headquarters. Their eyes shone with a frightening light. What happened? A demigod angel could not help but frown. Why did the Fengdu Saint's aura suddenly disappear? No matter how we try to capture it, we can't. It's as if the connection has been broken. It used a secret treasure of the angel clan in order to constantly monitor the aura of the Fengdu Saint and grasp his whereabouts, hoping to find an opportunity to deal with the Fengdu Saint. However, before it could find the opportunity, it realized that the connection between the aura of Saint Fengdu's body had been cut off. It was as if it had been cut off by an inexplicably powerful force. This also caused it to lose the clue that it could not find traces of the Fengdu Saint. Impossible. This is a secret treasure of my angel clan that has the law of karma tracking. How could it be so easily interrupted? Even a demigod expert wouldn't be able to do that. Another golden-haired angel said. There are only two possibilities. The first is that the Fengdu Saint sensed that our angel clan was tracking him. Therefore, he used some kind of unknown secret treasure to forcibly cut off the connection. A white-haired angel said in a deep voice, however, this possibility is not high. After all, such a treasure is even rarer and more precious than the secret treasure of our angel clan. It's impossible for a puny human clan saint to have it. The second possibility is that he suddenly entered a powerful universe mystic realm, such as a forbidden darkness zone. Such a place has powerful origin source laws of the universe. Even our race's secret treasure is unable to explore it. Therefore, we temporarily lost track of the Fengdu Saint. It said that there were two possibilities for this. Investigate. Immediately investigate if the Fengdu Saint has left the Xianhuang city. See where he has been recently. I don't believe that there are no clues. One of the three-eyed angels shouted. After a while, the golden-haired angel's eyes flickered. He seemed to have contacted the angel clan's intelligence department and obtained a lot of information. He narrowed his eyes and said, "This won't do. There is no information about the Fengdu Saint leaving the Xianhuang city. His confidentiality level in the human clan is too high. Our race's spies are unable to obtain any information about his whereabouts. However, it seems that our race is not the only one paying attention to the Fengdu Saint. There are also spies from the Demon Clan, the Insect Clan, the Elemental Clan, and other peak clans who are also investigating this kid." It discovered that while the Angel Clan was tracking down the Fengdu Saint, other peak clans were also investigating him. This is very normal. The Fengdu Saint is not well known. However, he has such earth-shattering strength the moment he appeared. It's normal for him to attract the attention of the other Peak Clan's intelligence organizations. However, remember not to alert the enemy. The three-eyed angel nodded, indicating that it was nothing and that it was very normal. However, we have temporarily lost track of this kid. What should we do? Wouldn't our previous series of plans have to be scrapped? The golden-haired angel said gloomily, "What a damn human clan saint. He just left the Sound Pattern Mountain mystic realm not long ago. He actually dared to run to other dangerous mystic realms. Isn't he afraid of death? He only knows how to court death all day." It clenched its fists. In its entire life, it had never seen a saint running around and courting death in some dangerous mystic realms. Which saint in the universe didn't always rest for a long period of time after venturing into a dangerous mystic realm before going on a second adventure? If one constantly courted death like this, they would die very quickly. There's no other way. Not everything can be as we expected. The Lord told us that fate is unpredictable. A white-robed angel held a scripture in his hand and was extremely pious. His body emitted the light of faith as though he was constantly bathing in the holy light and emitting an immortal aura. Don't worry. We have all the time in the world. We just have to wait. I don't believe that kid doesn't have any flaws. As long as we wait for an opportunity, that Fengdu saint will die. The three-eyed angel was filled with killing intent. It was like a hungry wolf, bloodthirsty, cruel, and extremely calm. Unless it was a critical moment, it wouldn't give its prey a fatal blow. The other angels nodded. Chapter 27:16. The Abyss World. At this moment, Xia Ping passed through the abyssal demon gate. He felt as if he had passed through a deep abyssal channel, and he did not know how far he had flown. Boom! Suddenly, the void shook, and space-time changed. Xia Ping immediately felt as if he had been teleported to another space, and his feet were standing on a piece of land. Is this the Abyss World? Xia Ping looked around and immediately discovered that he seemed to have appeared on the peak of a mountain. There seemed to be an ancient space-time gate behind him, and the ground was engraved with dense abyssal restrictions. It seemed as if this place was an important place to summon the abyssal demon gate. However, as far as his eyes could see, all he could see were barren, ancient mountains that stretched on endlessly. Under the perception of his divine sense, it seemed that everything within a radius of dozens of light years was in the barren mountains, without any signs of life. However, this abyss continent seemed to be completely different from the abyss continent that Xia Ping had entered before. This place was filled with densely packed, lush demonic trees. It seemed as if these plants had completely adapted to the abyss world. By devouring abyssal demonic aura and abyssal power, every tree was filled with rich vitality. This also made this abyss continent not so desolate, as if he was in a primeval forest. Such rich abyssal demonic aura. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. To be honest, as soon as he stepped into this space, he knew that the abyssal demonic aura here was more than 1,000,000,000 times stronger than the abyss continent that he had been to before. Strands of abyssal demonic aura almost condensed into a substance. It was as if any life form in the modern universe that stepped into this space and breathed in the air here would be instantly eroded and turned into abyssal creatures. Even an invincible saint might not be able to last for too long. No wonder many saints fought their way into the abyss in the Archean era, but they did not stay for too long before retreating. The environment here is simply a place of extreme toxicity to the various races. Xia Ping suddenly came to a realization. To be honest, if he did not have the bloodline of the Golden Crow of Hell and could devour the abyssal demonic aura at any time, he might not have been able to withstand the erosion of the abyssal power here. To ordinary life forms, this place was filled with poisonous gas everywhere, and it was simply impossible to survive. Therefore, to the various races, even if they won the war against the abyss in the Archean era, the best way was to seal the entrance of the abyss into the modern universe. This reminded Xia Ping of his previous life on Earth. In the ancient dynasties, the Xiongnu of the grassland repeatedly invaded the Central Plains. Each time the Central Plains dynasty defeated the Xiongnu and even killed them. However, after recuperating for 100 years, these Xiongnu soldiers would make a comeback. They would bring great harm to the Central Plains countries at any time. There would be countless casualties, and every moment was a great threat. In the end, they could only build a city wall that spanned tens of thousands of miles to block the Xiongnu, but it was not very useful. Then they could to say. Actually, it was because the grasslands were too barren and desolate. There were weeds everywhere, and it was impossible to grow large amounts of food. The environment was also extremely harsh. Even if the kingdoms of the Central Plains occupied the grasslands, they would not be able to use them. They would not be able to occupy these territories, and their soldiers would not be able to stay in these places for long. Moreover, the grasslands were also very large, so it was impossible to exterminate these Xiongnu. Usually, these Xiongnu would hide in the depths of the grasslands, and when the soldiers of the Central Plains retreated, they would come out again after 100 years, reproduce, and stir up trouble again. This cycle continued. The world. It was the same principle. The Abyss world was like an ancient grassland, but it was even worse than a grassland. Other than the demons of the Abyss, no living beings could survive here. It could be said that this place was the strongest barrier for the abyssal demons. Even if the demons from the Abyss failed every time they conquered the modern universe, as long as they retreated back into the Abyss and retained a certain amount of their fire, they could make a comeback after billions of years. They were simply invincible. Even if the myriad races of the universe used all sorts of methods to seal the space-time passageways, it was useless. As time passed, these seals would eventually collapse. This kind of power could not be sustained for long. At the same time, the Abyss demons would also learn, and these sealing methods would be broken sooner or later. Therefore, the demons of the Abyss had always been a great threat to the modern universe. It was almost a dead knot that could not be resolved. He felt that even if they blocked the attack of the abyssal demons this time, they would definitely attack again next time, and each time they would be stronger than the last. Looks like I have to think of a way to solve this once and for all. Xia Ping rubbed his chin, but he could not come up with a solution after thinking for a long time, so he gave up for the time being. After all, the saints of the myriad races must have thought of something similar over the years. Even they had no solution for the time being, so how could he find such a solution in a short time? But where exactly is this place? Is this already the place closest to the Abyss? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and continued to observe the surroundings. To be honest, there was no doubt that the continent he was on was the one closest to the Abyss. Otherwise, it would be impossible for there to be such a dense demonic aura. But he did not understand the Abyss world at all, nor did he know where this place was. There are actually 49 dark suns in the sky. At that moment, he raised his head to look at the sky, and his pupils shrank. He immediately discovered that there were 49 black suns in the sky, and they were high up in the void. These 49 black suns emitted a faint light. Although it was weak, it brought boundless heat and rich vitality to this continent. They were distributed in every corner of this continent, like gods, unfathomable, and simply could not be looked at directly. It was as if one would be burned by a terrifying demonic power of the Abyss just by looking at them. Without a doubt, these 49 bright sun demons were far more powerful than the bright sun demons that Xia Ping had seen before. They had all reached the invincible realm Saint Realm, and their bodies emitted a terrifying aura and power. Of course, this terrifying power had already been restrained, and they seemed to be in a deep sleep. They would only truly wake up when it was time to hunt. 49 demigod bright sun demons. The power of the Abyss is really terrifying. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He had just entered the Abyss, and he had already seen 49 demigod-level demons. He really had no idea how much terrifying power was hidden in the Abyss. It was no wonder that the Abyss alone was able to contend with the various races of the modern universe and almost annihilate all the living beings in the modern universe. He felt that he needed to familiarize himself with the environment here. Chapter 27:17. Boom! At this moment, some of the bright sun demons in the sky seemed to sense Xia Ping's gaze. They seemed to feel an inexplicable power that caused their bloodlines to throb. They seemed to sense the golden crow of hell's bloodline in Xia Ping's body. This bloodline power was extremely attractive to them, like a delicacy. Even if Xia Ping only revealed a sliver of his aura, it was enough to make them feel gluttonous, as though they had been starving for God knows how long. Oh no, I was a little careless just now. These bright sun demons seem to have sensed my aura. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. These bright sun demons that had reached the demigod level were extremely sensitive to auras. Moreover, his golden crow of hell bloodline seemed to come from the same source as the bright sun demons, and his bloodline was even superior to the bright sun demons. Therefore, to the bright sun demons, the golden crow of hell bloodline was the best tonic, an opportunity for them to improve further. Without a doubt, if he was devoured and killed by a bright sun demon, they would most likely inherit the golden crow of hell bloodline and become true golden crows of hell. Of course, they had to be able to withstand the power of the golden crow of hell bloodline. If they couldn't, they would die. Even so, in the eyes of these bright sun demons, Xia Ping might be Tripitaka. As long as they ate him, they could live forever and obtain endless benefits. Without another word, Xia Ping immediately retracted his aura and concealed himself completely to prevent the glorious sun demons from discovering his true location. He had entered the abyss world to scout for information, not to fight with these bright sun demons. Moreover, this was the territory of the abyss demons. If they really fought, it would be disadvantageous to him. However, this aura completely awakened the bright sun demons, causing them to wake up one by one. It was as though the demonic blood in their bodies was boiling, almost uncontrollable. What is this aura? How strange. Why did it suddenly trigger my predation cycle? I clearly just had a full meal. There seems to be a unique demon on this continent. Its flesh and blood are of great benefit to us. It might even help our cultivation advance. Advance? Could it be that the bloodline of that abyss demon is even more noble than us bright sun demons? Could it be that the abyss has given birth to a demon with the bloodline of a demon god? Where is this place? Where is that abyss demon? Let's catch and eat it. The bright sun demons seem to have awakened at this moment. In the depths of the void, countless evil thoughts intertwined with each other, as if causing a terrifying void storm. If a mortal sensed such a mental storm, they would probably have their soul torn apart in an instant and fall. Even an ordinary sage would be corroded by such evil spiritual energy and fall. But demons would not be able to advance. These glorious sun demons stood at the peak of the abyssal world. Even among the abyssal kings, they were supreme existences. It was almost impossible for them to advance any further. Demons' kings were basically abyss demons. Demons. Demons, demon, abyss, dragon, demons. But now, an abyssal demon had appeared. As long as they could devour it, they would be able to advance further. Instantly, all of the luminous sun demons were alarmed. This was because if he took another step forward, he would evolve into a demon god. At that time, he would truly be the supreme ruler of the entire world and become the master of the deep abyss. To them, this was an opportunity to become a god. No bright sun demon could stop it. Their bloodlines were reminding them that this was a once-in-a-lifetime chance. They would not get it again if they missed it. Rumble, dark suns appeared in the sky. They seemed to open their eyes. Their pupils were like the eyes of the abyss. They burst with terrifying light. They were like black holes, swallowing everything in the world. To be honest, they had not completely woken up yet. They could only be considered to have woken up in a daze. But even so, these bright sun demons released terrifying auras that shook the void. Countless abyss demons were terrified. It was like they had encountered a natural disaster. These bright sun demons burst with terrifying power. Their consciousness power pierced through the void and enveloped every part of the abyss continent. They tried to find Xia Ping's specific location. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Streak after streak of terrifying dark light pierced through the void, blotting out the heavens and covering the earth. It seemed to have searched through the 9 heavens and 10 earths, covering every corner in an attempt to find that wisp of aura. The bright sun demons woke up, shaking the world. Such unscrupulous actions alarmed countless abyss demons. Even the abyss kings were alarmed. After all, they knew what was going on. Even the blind could see it. What's going on? What's going on? Why did these bright sun demons suddenly wake up? Now is not the time for them to wake up. What are those bastards trying to do? Are they trying to tear up the agreement between us Abyss Kings? An Abyss King sensed this. He was both shocked and angry. Although the bright sun demons were one of the strongest Abyss demons and the strongest combat power they were proud of, they were too uncontrollable. They were basically lunatics. If they were hungry, they would even kill their own people, regardless of friend or foe. These bright sun demons even captured countless Abyss demons as food. They could be said to be at the top of the Abyss continent. That was why countless Abyss demons were terrified of them. Once the bright sun demons woke up and started their hunting cycle, there was no telling how many Abyss demons would be eaten by them. So they were a double-edged sword. They could hurt others, but they could also hurt themselves. However, in order to invade the modern universe, they still needed the help of these bright sun demons. After all, if these bright sun demons went berserk, they would probably wipe out everything. Because of this, they signed an agreement with the bright sun demons. They promised to provide large amounts of food for the bright sun demons to devour when they were hungry. But in exchange, these bright sun demons could not kill indiscriminately. And the bright sun demons agreed. After all, if these Abyss Kings provided them with food, they could save a lot of hunting time. It was also beneficial to them. After signing the contract, both sides had been living peacefully together. Fortunately, these bright sun demons needed a long time to wake up. So these Abyss demons did not go extinct. They could recuperate and coexist peacefully. But now that the bright sun demons had awakened earlier than the last hunting cycle, countless Abyss demons were alarmed. They did not know what was happening. I'm not sure. There are too many bright sun demons awakening this time. 12, 20, 30. Damn it. How can so many bright sun demons awaken at the same time? This is unheard of. Another Abyss King was shocked. Usually, awakening 3 bright sun demons at the same time was a big deal. Countless Abyss demons would die. But now, dozens of bright sun demons were awakening at the same time. It was a disaster. Even the Abyss King's expression was grave. This was no small matter. Chapter 27:18. Damn it, all 49 bright sun devils have awakened. They've gone completely insane. An Abyss Emperor seemed to have sensed something, and he was both shocked and enraged. These damned lunatics. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to completely destroy this continent? It sensed the 49 demigod-level bright sun demons awakening at the same time. These bright sun demons exploded with terrifying power, causing the entire continent to tremble, as if it was about to collapse. The void in all directions was trembling. After all, this Abyss continent was a base that they had prepared for a long time. If it were to be destroyed at this moment, who knew how great the loss would be? Especially now that they were about to attack the modern universe, if something happened to the base at this time, it would definitely be a huge blow to their strength. If something like that happened, then what the hell was the point of attacking the modern universe? They might as well stay in the Abyss obediently. I told you long ago that these bright sun demons are lunatics. There's no way to reason with them. They might even stab us in the back at a crucial moment. We should have done our best to eliminate them back then, lest they drag us down. The other Abyssal King gnashed his teeth. Shut up. If it was that easy to kill off these bright sun demons, we would have done it long ago. Why would we wait until now? That's right. The bright sun demon's power is not to be underestimated. Moreover, it has reached the demigod level. If it could be killed so easily, it wouldn't be the demons that stand at the top of the abyss. Cut the crap. Although these glorious sun demons are hard to control, their power is real. They will definitely be a powerful force for us to attack the modern universe. Let's endure it for now. It won't be long before we attack the modern universe. When the time comes, we won't be raising these hateful glorious sun demons anymore. That's right. At the end of the day, they're just cannon fodder that we use to fight against the sages in the real universe. With them blocking the front, who knows how much damage we can save. To destroy the modern universe, the power of the bright sun demon is necessary. The thoughts of the abyssal kings appeared and intertwined with each other. They came to a consensus. Although they couldn't control the bright sun demon, the power of the bright sun demon was something they couldn't bear to part with. They were unwilling to give up on this sharp blade. But these glorious sun demons are out of control. How do we deal with them? The abyssal king said solemnly. Rumble, at this moment, the 49 bright sun demons were in a frenzy. They opened their eyes fearlessly and shot rays of dark light through the void in an attempt to find Xia Ping's traces. However, these ghostly lights were extremely terrifying. Wherever they went, the void was pierced. Those abyssal demons couldn't dodge in time and were instantly turned into dust, dying without a complete corpse. In just a few minutes, tens of millions of abyssal demons were killed or injured in the entire demon continent, and even the entire continent was pierced with terrifying big holes, and astonishing cracks appeared everywhere. Ayaya, looks like I've caused a huge problem this time. Looks like it's not a good time to leave. I'd better hide here for now. At this moment, Xia Ping, who was hidden in the depths of the void, was watching everything unfold. However, he was extremely relaxed right now. With the power of the formless mask, there was no way these glorious sun demons could detect his presence. He concealed himself completely and waited for the glorious sun devils to stop searching for him. If the abyssal monarchs knew how leisurely this instigator was, they would probably want to capture and kill him. There's no other way. We can only take action. We can't let these glorious sun devils continue to act recklessly. Otherwise, everything we've accumulated over billions of epochs will be destroyed at this moment. An abyssal monarch spoke. He could no longer bear to watch. Activate the seal and let these bright sun devils sleep for now. Another abyssal monarch also nodded in agreement. Glorious sun devils, stop immediately. Are you trying to break our alliance? At this moment, hundreds of abyssal monarchs appeared in the sky. They were densely distributed throughout the void, and they immediately surrounded the 49 demigod-level glorious sun devils. Shut up. This has nothing to do with you. Don't obstruct us. Demons who dare to obstruct us must all die, a glorious sun devil roared angrily, surging with murderous intent. Looks like there's no room for discussion. Let's do it. The abyssal monarch said indifferently. What are you trying to do? The glorious sun devils seemed to feel waves of murderous intent coming from the depths of the void. Rumble, in an instant, hundreds of abyssal monarchs attacked at the same time. They seemed to have activated the seal formation in the void, and a super formation appeared from the depths of the void, enveloping the entire abyssal continent. To be honest, they had prepared this seal formation for a very long time. The most important goal was to prevent these glorious sun devils from falling into a state of exhaustion. They never thought it would come in handy at this time. What? The 49 bright sun devils were astonished. They could sense that the depths of the void was covered with countless void restriction arrays that completely surrounded them. They seemed to have fallen into a world of darkness. They were surrounded by the omnipresent power of the void, as if they were imprisoned in a part of the void. You're courting death. How dare you imprison the great glorious sun devils? We'll burn you to ashes. Who gave you the courage to do so? Die, all of you. The glorious sun devils roared, and terrifying destructive ripples erupted from their bodies. It was as if the sun had exploded, and the destructive ripples destroyed the heavens and earth. Even many abyssal monarchs trembled. It was as if these ripples could easily destroy worlds and shatter the laws of worlds. They were practically invincible. Boom! However, at this moment, the seal formation instantly enveloped these glorious sun devils. It seemed to have turned into billions of abyssal runes, forming a formation that seeped into their souls. What? The glorious sun devils instantly discovered that their souls seemed to have been dragged into the darkness. They wanted to erupt with power, but they were unable to do so. They only felt that they were filled with endless sleepiness, and they couldn't resist it at all. Whoosh! In the next second, these glorious sun devils all fainted. They were also in a state where their flames were extinguished. Their originally violent auras disappeared without a trace, and they were like extinguished suns. They quietly floated in the air, unable to move. What a powerful seal formation! It can actually make these glorious sun devils fall into a deep sleep so easily. Many abyssal monarchs couldn't conceal the shock and disbelief in the depths of their hearts when they saw this. This was also their first time activating a seal formation like this. Chapter 27:19. As expected of the divine prohibition technique bestowed by the demon lord. Even the bright sun demons can't resist it. An abyssal king was full of admiration. To be honest, this kind of restriction was not something that they could create. Everything came from a mysterious demon lord, and this demon lord was blessed by the abyss. It was also this demon lord that made the abyssal kings unite as one. Otherwise, they would always be a plate of loose sand, unable to completely unite. Of course, another important reason was the crushing defeat in the primordial era. It slapped them hard in the face and woke them up from their invincible state. They deeply realized that even though they came from the abyss, they weren't invincible. It was also because of this crushing defeat that they deeply realized their own shortcomings and were willing to accept other people's suggestions. If there's such a divine prohibition technique, then there's nothing to be afraid of these bright sun demons. They're just fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. An abyssal king laughed heartily. He was in a good mood. Before, they had been bullied badly by the bright sun demons. These lunatics relied on their powerful strength and acted unscrupulously everywhere they went. They would devour many demons at the slightest provocation and acted as if they were the true lord of the abyss. And they were just food for the bright sun demons. The prideful abyssal kings couldn't stand this kind of humiliation. If it weren't for the big picture, they would have fought these bright sun demons to the death. How could they have survived until today? Ridiculous. How can it be so simple? Right now, we're only temporarily controlling these bright sun demons. We can only make them sleep for a while. As long as the inextinguishable flames in their bodies aren't extinguished, even the power of the divine prohibition technique will be slowly burned away. We can control them for a while, but not forever. Another abyssal king poured cold water on this idea. It expressed that such a divine prohibition technique couldn't trap these bright sun demons forever. These bright sun demons possessed the inextinguishable flames of the abyss. They were terrifyingly powerful. Even the divine prohibition technique couldn't restrain them. Under the burning of the inextinguishable flames of the abyss, all divine prohibition techniques would turn to dust. Even if the divine prohibition technique could last a little longer, it wouldn't be able to last for too long. This was the terror of a bright sun demon, a demon that stood at the peak of the abyss. That's right. If it was so easy to eliminate these glorious sun demons, we wouldn't have to worry so much. This time, we were only able to succeed by taking advantage of their carelessness and unpreparedness. If they were prepared, I'm afraid it wouldn't have been so easy. Controlling 49 enraged glorious sun demons is not an easy task. A three-eyed abyssal king said solemnly. In the end, it didn't swell up and remained extremely cautious. No matter what, the power of the bright sun devil's divine art was not to be underestimated. Indeed, some of the abyssal kings, who had been complacent, quickly calmed down. They seemed to have realized that they had celebrated too early. Although the forbidden god technique was powerful, it couldn't control these bright sun devils forever. Of course, they could take the opportunity to kill these bright sun devils and eliminate this unstable factor. However, what was the point of doing so? Doing so would only reduce the combat power of the abyss. If the saints of the modern universe knew about this, they would probably laugh for 3 days straight. Therefore, they couldn't be stupid enough to lose their combat power for no reason. This kind of thing really didn't make up for the loss. It doesn't matter. We just need to control them for a period of time. Soon, our plan will begin. When the time comes and we go to war with the modern universe, these bright sun devils won't be able to vent their anger on us. Instead, we can take the opportunity to use these enraged bright sun devils to destroy the power of the modern universe's saints. An abyssal king's eyes flashed with a murderous intent. Indeed, we just need to let them sleep for a period of time. That's right. Even if they regain consciousness, we'll have already gone to war with the modern universe. When they wake up, we can throw them out. It'll definitely make the saints of the modern universe anxious. The Abyssal Kings all nodded. They had decided on a plan in a few words. Boom. In the next second, these sleeping bright sun devils were instantly imprisoned in the void. They automatically moved around this demonic continent like celestial bodies. Although they were in a state of hibernation, their bodies could still emit endless heat, providing the demonic continent with a huge amount of life energy. They were still burning. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. An hour later, these Abyssal Kings also quickly disappeared from where they were. At this moment, the void had completely returned to peace, as if nothing had happened. After another period of time, when these Abyssal Kings had completely disappeared, Xia Ping walked out of the void. He stared at the back of the Abyssal Kings that had already disappeared, as well as the many bright sun devils sealed in the sky, a thoughtful expression on his face. Interesting. They could actually control the enraged demigod-level bright sun devils so easily. What a pity! If only I could obtain these bright sun devils. Devouring their power would definitely allow the Hell Golden Crow bloodline in my body to skyrocket. Xia Ping's eyes flashed. To be honest, the bright sun devils regarded him as Tripitaka's flesh. How could he not be? To him, these bright sun devils were also one of the best tonics. He wanted to eat one at any time. Unfortunately, there were too many of these bright sun devils, and they were also very powerful. He could only look at them enviously. After thinking about it, he decided not to take the risk to avoid attracting the attention of the Abyssal Kings. It seems that the power of the Abyss is really beyond imagination. I wonder what kind of secrets they're hiding. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. He was thinking about why these abyssal demons dared to declare war on the various races of the modern universe. After all, the modern universe had developed for billions of eras. There were countless sages of the various races. It could be said that the various races of the modern universe were more than 10 times stronger than in the immemorial age. The Abyss had already failed in the immemorial age, and there were countless casualties. Even after such a long period of recuperation, they might not be able to recover to their original peak state. Even so, these abyssal demons were still full of confidence. They believed that they would definitely be able to conquer the modern universe. They were still making all sorts of secret plans. It was really unbelievable. He felt that the abyssal demons definitely had something to rely on. Otherwise, why would they be so confident? However, before finding out their secrets, I should first understand what this place is. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He felt that he should not be too hasty. He still wanted to understand the specific environment here. Only then could he slowly get closer to the secrets of those abyssal kings. If he got too close, he might be beaten up badly. His figure flashed, and he immediately left this place, heading towards where the many demons were gathered. Chapter 2720. A dozen days later, in the Rock Demon City. This city was the largest in a radius of a few hundred light years. It was also the most prosperous place where many demons gathered. Countless demons went in and out of the city to trade. Just like humans, they lived in the city in an orderly manner. Seems like the Abyss is really different from before. At this moment, Xia Ping was in a tavern, drinking rice wine brewed from the Abyss alone. It was as hot as lava and contained terrifying abyssal corrosive power. If any life form of the various races drank a mouthful, they would instantly degenerate into an abyssal creature. But he was different. The golden crow of hell bloodline in his body could easily devour and refine the abyssal power contained in the wine and make it his own. At the same time, the magic power in his body seemed to have increased. He looked at the abyssal demons drinking and bragging around the tavern. If he wasn't in the Abyss, he would think that he was still in the modern universe. Based on his previous impression, he thought that this abyssal continent should be filled with terrifying battles. Countless abyssal demons fought endlessly. There should be flames of war everywhere. The buildings should also be primitive. Walls and houses made of rocks were considered advanced. Ordinary demons should live in caves. But now that he was in this city, he found that everything was in order. The building techniques were also extremely advanced. It was filled with barbaric life force. It was similar to human society. At first, Xiaoping didn't understand why the abyss would change like this. But after staying here for a dozen days and constantly asking for information, he finally understood some of the truth. All of these changes came from a mysterious demon called the Demon Lord. In the primordial age, the abyssal demons suffered a crushing defeat. A large number of high-level demons were killed. All the abyssal demons were either sealed, killed, or fled back to the abyss. Even the invincible saints of the various races joined forces and killed their way into the deepest part of the abyss. They wreaked havoc and killed many invincible realm demons. This caused great damage to the abyssal world. At the same time, most of the void passages from the abyss to the modern universe were sealed. They could no longer enter and exit the modern universe without fear. Moreover, once they appeared in the modern universe, they would immediately be like street rats, being hunted everywhere until they died. As time passed, not many abyssal demons dared to leave the abyss. All of them obediently stayed in the abyss, not daring to leave. After all, no matter how they thought about it, it was still safer to stay in the abyss. They would not be killed by the saints of the various races in the modern universe. That period of time was simply the darkest period of the abyss. Talents withered, and there were countless casualties. All of them had lost their confidence and were like stray dogs. None of the demons even dared to say that they would counterattack the modern universe. Even in the face of such humiliation, they could only endure it. Even if they had to break their teeth, they had to swallow it into their stomachs. And at this moment, the mysterious Demon Lord appeared. As soon as it appeared, it displayed its invincible strength, subduing demigod-level demons one after another and gathering them under its banner, gradually forming a powerful force. It did not take long for it to subdue all the forces in the abyss. No matter how rebellious they were before, in front of the Demon Lord, they all lowered their noble heads. After that, the Demon Lord told many of the abyssal demons that their defeat in this war was not only because they had underestimated the enemy, but also because they had no discipline, no system, and were not united. They were like a plate of loose sand. Even their technology was extremely backward, like primitive people. If they were backward, they would be beaten. If they did not lose the war, it would be simply unreasonable. And because of this, under the leadership of the Demon Lord, these higher demons secretly sneaked into the modern universe. But this time, they did not choose to destroy. Instead, they turned into ordinary people and integrated into the modern universe. They began to humbly learn about the various aspects of the modern universe. They learned the system of the various races, learned the technology of the various races, and learned everything useful. And in this way, the entire abyss underwent an earth-shattering change. First of all, they directly got rid of the tribal system and entered the kingdom system. With the demigod-level demons as the center, they formed a powerful demon kingdom. And the demigod-level demons were the kings of this kingdom, so they called themselves the kings of the abyss. Next, they built cities after cities, enfeoffed feudal lords, and gathered countless demons in the cities. They made them abide by the rules here and not kill each other. In the beginning, such a system, of course, could not be implemented. It was opposed by the demons who were not used to the rules and restrictions. They expressed that the weak were prey to the strong, and that unscrupulous killing was the real demon. If they were restrained and imprisoned in a cage, they would be tigers without teeth. This would only weaken the power of the demons, not strengthen them. But with the support of the Demon Lord and many demigod-level demons, all the opponents were killed and completely eradicated. Only the demons who supported them could survive. Over time, the entire abyss underwent earth-shattering changes. Because of the reduction in killing each other, with the constraints of the system, the power of the abyss world was recovering at a geometrical speed. Countless tyrannical demons were constantly being born. Now, not only did they recover the power of the ancient times, but they were even stronger. But at this moment, they learned to scheme, to endure, and to plan before taking action. Even with such power, these abyss demons still did not choose to make a big fuss. Instead, they hid and waited for the opportunity to launch a fatal blow. Clearly, they had become even more terrifying and more in line with the characteristics of the demons. demon lord? What kind of existence is this? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. There was no doubt that all the changes that happened in the abyss were related to this demon lord. If not for this demon lord, the power of the abyss would not be so strong. Moreover, he realized that countless demons in the abyss were extremely respectful to this demon lord. It was as if he was the king of all kings of the abyss, the absolute king who stood above all demons. Every abyssal demon's worship and respect for this demon lord was deep in their bones. Without this demon lord, the abyss would be in a state of disunity, and no one would submit to anyone. This kind of fanaticism made him tremble with fear. It seems that there is no information about this demon lord in the intelligence of the human race. He's really hidden too deeply. Xia Ping clenched his fists. If he had not sneaked into the abyss, he would not have known that the abyss had undergone such a change. If he did not know anything when war broke out, all the living beings in the universe would definitely suffer a great loss. Chapter 27-21. And this continent isn't simple either. Xia Ping touched his chin. After searching for information for more than 10 days, he not only got news about the demon lord, but also some information about this continent. In fact, this demon continent was called the Abyss Continent, and it was the largest continent in the Abyss world. However, it was not formed naturally. It seemed that in the primordial era, the demon lord led many demigod demons to move pieces of the Abyss Continent to this place. Then, they set up one formation after another, causing these continents to fuse together, and finally formed the Abyss Continent. To be honest, even the Abyss demons here didn't know how big the Abyss Continent was, and they didn't know where the end of this continent was. Many demons couldn't reach the end of the continent even if they spent their entire lives. Moreover, the Abyss Continent seemed to be growing every year, constantly expanding its land area. Therefore, this place could be regarded as the center of the entire abyss. Most of the sage-level demons were gathered here, and it could be said that this was the base camp of the abyss demons. As for the demon continent that Xia Ping had been to before, it was actually an extremely remote place, completely rural place that was abandoned by the demons, and only some ordinary demons were left. And because of this, countless top demons gathered on this continent, causing the number and strength of the demons in the abyss world to expand rapidly, and all the forces were concentrated together. It could be said that the current abyss world was unprecedentedly powerful, and its hidden strength was definitely beyond the imagination of the various races, far from what the primordial era could compare with. But what means is the abyss hiding? Xia Ping was curious. Even though he had been inquiring about this place for more than 10 days, he still couldn't find out. It was probably a top-secret information that no other demons knew except those Abyss Kings. After all, the Abyss demons that he could come into contact with now were actually low-level demons, and they didn't know this top-secret information at all. It seems that if I want to know this top-secret information, I have to join the organization of the Abyss world, so that I can infiltrate the enemy and get this information. Xia Ping was thinking about his next step. He knew that although there were countless kingdoms in the Abyss Continent, and they were fighting with each other, there was also a force above many kingdoms, and that was the Monster Demon Palace. The master of the Goblin Demon Palace was the famous Demon Lord, and the branch palaces of the Goblin Demon Palace could be found in every kingdom. However, they were all in a neutral position, monitoring the movements of the various kingdoms to prevent these kingdoms from engaging in life-and-death battles, causing the people to be unable to make a living and suffering heavy casualties. It could be said that the Fiendish Demon Palace was the law enforcement organization responsible for monitoring the world. Countless elite fiendish demons joined them. If you want to know the secrets of the abyss, the best way is to join the Devil Demon Palace. Master! The voice of a black hole worm elder rang out in Xia Ping's mind. Yes, what's wrong? Has the plan succeeded? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. That's right. After more than 10 days of hard work, we've finally opened up the void passageway between the Abyss world and the modern universe's planet Yanhuang, as well as the central universe's Xianhuang continent. At this moment, if Master is willing, you can use the classic of mountains and seas to return to the modern universe. There's no need to pass through the Abyssal Demon Gate. The black hole worm elder said excitedly. I didn't misjudge you. Hearing this, Xia Ping smiled. To be honest, ever since he passed through the Abyssal Demon Gate, he had been very wary of the Abyssal Demon Gate. He didn't want his whereabouts to be exposed to the Abyssal Demon Gate. After all, if the Abyssal Demon Gate harbored ill intentions towards him, they could assassinate him at any time. Hence, he still wanted to find a void passageway to escape from the Abyssal Demon Gate. And the only ones who could do this were the black hole worm, whose innate talent in space was the best in the universe. Ever since Chong Xiaoqian advanced to the sempiternal realm, the black hole worm elders who were stuck in the lightning tribulation realm also advanced to the sempiternal realm. It could be said that the black hole worm race now had dozens of sempiternal realm elders. This also greatly increased their strength, allowing them to excavate more stable, hidden, and powerful void passageways. Before advancing to the sempiternal realm, these black hole worms probably wouldn't be able to excavate a void passageway that connected the abyss world and the modern universe. But after advancing to the immortal realm, it was completely different. Hence, after more than 10 days of hard work, the entire black hole worm race finally dug out several void passageways that connected the modern universe and the abyss world. Thank you for the compliment, Master. This is what we should do. The many black hole worm elders were extremely excited and happy. To be honest, they had been freeloading in the classic of mountains and seas for so long, but they had never been able to do anything for their master. This made them feel extremely ashamed. Now that they could finally help, they felt that they were finally of some use. Alright, I understand. You guys can go back first. Remember to maintain these void passageways well. Don't let others discover them. Xia Ping waved his hand. In truth, although Chong Xiaoqian was a little useless, her subordinates were still very capable. As expected of one of the top beings in the universe with innate talent in space, they could easily excavate a void passageway that connected the abyss world and the modern universe. In the primordial era, the black hole worm race was targeted and exterminated because of this ability of theirs. Naturally, this included the abyssal demon race. Don't worry, Master. The void passageways that our black hole worm race excavates are impossible for other races to discover. That's right. Our black hole worm race's void passageways have been imbued with our black hole worm race's secret spatial techniques. They're hidden in the depths of spacetime. Even an invincible saint would find it difficult to discover them. That's right. Even if they're discovered, these void passageways are extremely sturdy. Once an enemy invades, we'll immediately know. There definitely won't be any accidents. Rest assured, Master, about the quality of our black hole worm construction. There will definitely be no accidents. The many black hole worm elders were full of confidence because this was their specialty. They were famous even in the entire universe. Even in places where spatial storms were prevalent, they could excavate a stable space-time passageway. Not bad. Xia Ping was very satisfied. With these void passageways, he could return to the modern universe at any time. Even if something unexpected happened, he would be able to escape without being intercepted by the Abyssal Kings. It could be said that he was now in an invincible position. Even if he caused huge trouble in the Abyss world, no demons would be able to do anything to him. Chapter 27-22. Very quickly, the voices of the black hole worm elders disappeared as they returned to the classic of mountains and seas world. Alright, since I have prepared a way out, it is time to find a chance to join Monster Demon Hall. Xia Ping touched his chin. To be honest, it wasn't easy to join Monster Demon Hall. First, one had to have a clean background and a demon to vouch for them. This would prevent many from joining Monster Demon Hall with ulterior motives. Secondly, one had to be strong and talented enough to join Monster Demon Hall. Every year, many demons wanted to join Monster Demon Hall, but only 1 out of 10,000 joined. One could imagine how difficult it was. Even if Xia Ping wanted to turn into a demon and join Monster Demon Hall, it would be extremely difficult. First, he had to prove that his background was clean. Looks like the only thing I can do now is to kill a demon from the Monster Demon Palace and replace it completely. That way, I can join the Monster Demon Palace without anyone noticing. Xia Ping recalled the inheritance of the true demon god that he had obtained. One of its most important powers was to turn lies into truth. It could turn lies into truth, and it could turn his false identity into reality. This way, no demon would be able to detect it, because this was the power of a demon god. Of course, there was a limit to this ability. The person that he wanted to replace could not be stronger than him. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to do it. This was the limit of his ability. In truth, if he could replace a demigod demon, that would be great. He would save a lot of effort and he would be able to obtain the secrets of the core. But in reality, he couldn't do that now. It would be great if he could replace a being below immemorial ancient realm. But how do I find a demon from Monster Demon Hall to kill and replace it? Xia Ping squinted his eyes. In truth, there were very few demons in Monster Demon Hall. They were strong and their movements were unpredictable. Ordinary demons wouldn't have a chance to meet them. He had stayed here for more than 10 days and had seen many demons from Monster Demon Hall. Occasionally, he would meet them, but they were in a hurry and he didn't have time to attack. Do I have to head near Monster Demon Hall and wait? Xia Ping knew that there was a branch of the Fiendish Demon Palace in this city, and this city could be considered the capital of a kingdom. Countless fiendish demons gathered here, and the area was vast and boundless. This branch of the Fiendish Demon Palace seemed to be located near the Royal Palace. It was covered by many restrictive arrays and ordinary fiendish demons could not even get close to it. The guards of the Fiendish Demon Palace would probably interrogate them if they were within 50 kilometers of the Fiendish Demon Palace. Huh! At that moment, Xia Ping, who was sitting in the tavern, sensed that there was a small alley not far away. There seemed to be hundreds of restrictive arrays set up around it, enveloping the surrounding void. The alley was immediately sealed. Even if anything happened inside, it would not be heard from the outside. Of course, it was impossible for such a restrictive formation to stop his divine sense prying. With a thought, his divine sense silently penetrated the restrictive formation. Immediately, he saw more than a dozen demons dressed in black standing in the alley, exuding a terrifying abyssal aura. There was a young fiendish demon lying on the ground. At this moment, he seemed to be lying in a pool of blood and had lost all signs of life. Fiendish demons from the Fiendish Demon Palace? Sensing these demons in black, Xia Ping's pupils shrank. He could tell at a glance that these demons were wearing the official uniforms of the Fiendish Demon Palace. Other than the fiendish demons from the Fiendish Demon Palace, no other fiendish demons in the entire city dared to wear such uniforms. Otherwise, it would be considered a great disrespect to the Fiendish Demon Palace. The most severe punishment would be death or imprisonment for tens of thousands of years. The punishment was extremely heavy. Not many fiendish demons dared to pretend to be members of the Fiendish Demon Palace. Interesting. Are they dealing with traitors? Or is there an internal conflict? Xia Ping touched his chin. He also sensed that the dead young fiendish demon was also a member of the Fiendish Demon Palace. However, he did not know why he was killed by other members of the Fiendish Demon Palace. Is he dead? One of the demons in black said. Yes, he is dead. Even his soul has been destroyed by us. Even the abyss can't save him. Another fiendish demon in black said. That's good. That stupid Austin actually dared to lay his hands on the most beautiful rose of our Rock Demon City's branch, Monica. He really doesn't know what's good for him. He doesn't know that not every woman can be touched by him. Since he overestimated himself, he has to die. A fiendish demon in black sneered. What do we do now? Should we destroy the corpses? That way no one will know that we did it. Destroying the corpse won't achieve the effect of killing the chicken to scare the monkey. Moreover, he was poisoned by the soul-destroying poison that we developed. This poison is silent and destroys the soul without leaving any traces. No one will be able to find out how he died. That's right. It's just Austin. He doesn't have any backing. Even if he dies, who will avenge him? But what about Monica? If she finds out about this, won't she fly into a rage and burn us? Don't worry. I know Monica well. She's a cold and heartless woman. She won't shed a single tear even if she knows that Austin is dead. The men around her are like a school of carps in the river. A mere Austin is nothing to them. Monica was just toying with him. That's true. However, Austin is really unlucky. He was just toyed with by Monica, but he paid the price with his life. What a pitiful fellow. This matter has nothing to do with us. We were just following orders. Not being strong enough is a sin in the abyss world. It's only a matter of time before he gets killed by other powerful fiendish demons. Let's go. There might be fiendish demons passing by soon. We have to remove this restrictive array formation as soon as possible, lest some fiendish demons discover something fishy and get into trouble. These fiendish demons in black discussed fervently. They moved very quickly and were well trained. In a few breaths, all the traces of the crime had disappeared. Even the scene of space and time was completely distorted. Before long, they disappeared from the alley, leaving behind only the corpse of a young fiendish demon. Swoosh. At this moment, the void above the alley distorted and a figure walked out. It was Xia Ping. He came before the corpse of the young fiendish demon. Interesting. I was thinking about how to find a fiendish demon from the fiendish demon palace to replace him. Isn't this dead young fiendish demon the best candidate? Xia Ping rubbed his chin. He felt that his luck tonight was pretty good. Chapter 27-23. Existence Replace. Xia Ping's body shook as he channeled the authority of the true demon god. With his body as the center, the radius of hundreds of thousands of light years was completely enveloped by this authority. Immediately, his figure slowly transformed into the young demon lying on the ground. Be it his appearance, figure, aura, bloodline, or soul, everything became exactly the same. The corpse on the ground seemed to have been completely devoured by the power of the true demon god. It turned into nothingness and vanished without a trace, as though it had never existed in this world. Did I replace this demon just like that? Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He realized that the power of the true demon god did not just transform his appearance into the other party's. Instead, he had completely replaced the other party. He had also completely inherited the karmic threads on the young demon. He could easily change the perception of other demons. Even an invincible sage would not be able to detect anything fishy. Whoosh! Instantly, he realized that countless karmic threads were transmitting a massive amount of information to him from the depths of the void. These were the memories of this young demon. Although he was already dead, these memories were still hidden in the depths of space and time, hidden in the karmic threads. Now, he had also inherited all these memories. At this moment, Xia Ping was shocked. He felt that he had underestimated the power of the true demon god. The power to replace others was not as simple as he had imagined. It was not just his figure, appearance, and soul that had changed into the appearance of others. Even the memories of his soul had been completely inherited. It was as though he was the true demon himself and was extremely familiar with the abyss. If he had not kept his true self, he would have thought that he was this young demon, Austin. It could be said that he had completely transformed into Austin. Be it bloodline, appearance, or memories, he was no different from the real Austin. Of course, there was no way to change his personality and actions. These were things that had been engraved into the depths of Xia Ping's soul. However, this did not matter. Due to the power of the true demon god, even if he had changed his personality, other demons who had come into contact with Austin would feel that it was natural and not feel awkward. This was the power of the true demon god. I see. This is an immortal realm flower demon. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. At this moment, he also understood the power of this young fiendish demon, Austin. Its true form was a flower demon, a fiendish demon born from a rare flower in the abyss. This kind of fiendish demon specialized in the power of charm. Their bodies could emit all sorts of incredible fragrances that could easily gain the favor of other fiendish demons. At the same time, they were also extremely handsome. Some people would say that there were countless demon races in the abyss, and their appearances were also very strange. There was no common aesthetic. However, the flower demon was different. It relied on its scent to capture the lives of all races. The sense of touch-like scent surpassed everything and could easily capture the goodwill of countless members of the opposite sex. Therefore, it easily won the favor of the daughter of the Rock Demon City's Demon Palace master, Monica. Just like that, the two of them became boyfriend and girlfriend. It even used its relationship with Monica to join the Monster Demon Palace and become one of its members. Although its position wasn't very high, its life was smooth sailing. Furthermore, with Monica's help, he could be considered to have a meteoric rise in the Devil Demon Palace. His life was flourishing and he was very carefree. However, when the other fiendish demons from the Monster Demon Palace found out about this, they were all filled with jealousy. They thought that Austin was just a pretty boy fiendish demon that relied on a woman to climb up the ranks. That night, some big shots had instructed some fiendish demons to kill Austin, silently killing him in an alley. Although Austin specialized in the power of charm, as a flower demon, his combat power wasn't that strong. He was no match for the other fiendish demons at all. In the end, he was killed in an instant. What a pitiful fellow. Due to his lack of strength, he ended up flirting with a woman he shouldn't have. However, this kid's identity just happens to be suitable. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. Perhaps, I can make use of this guy's identity to quickly raise my status in the Monster Demon Palace. Through that, I'll be able to find out more information about the Abyss. To be honest, he felt that this Austin's identity wasn't bad. Because of his status as a flower demon, he was naturally very weak. He had no parents and no backing, so he was bullied by others. That was why he didn't have any friends. All he did was hang out with various female fiendish demons and was often chased by other strong male fiendish demons. It could be said that this flower demon Austin was already notorious. In fact, he wasn't a fiendish demon from the Rock Demon City. He came from somewhere else to seek refuge here. However, he didn't expect that even after coming to this place, he still couldn't escape death. Unfortunately, this guy's status is too low. He doesn't have the right to come into contact with too much information. Xia Ping said regretfully. Originally, he wanted to take this opportunity to find out more about the Abyss's invasion of the modern universe. However, this flower demon Austin was a complete idiot. He only wanted to flirt with women all day long. He wasn't interested in such things at all. That was why he couldn't get any useful information from Austin's memory. However, the flower demon's power doesn't seem so simple. Xia Ping touched his chin. When he transformed into the flower demon, he naturally didn't just transform into the other party's appearance. At the same time, he had also inherited the flower demon's bloodline and power. He realized that the flower demon seemed to be a special flower in the abyss. It was called the abyss flower. It emitted an endless special fragrance that had a fatal attraction to all life forms in the world, including fiendish demons. This kind of power was incomparably powerful, if used properly. However, it was obvious that this flower demon Austin had wasted his talent and used it to flirt with girls. There are 6 senses in the world: hearing, sight, taste, smell, touch, and the 6th sense. Every sense is incomparably important. They form the essential elements for life to perceive the world. If I can control the 6 senses of touch, I can control all life forms. Xia Ping squinted his eyes. He felt that he was currently immersed in using the flower demon's bloodline power. It was as though the smell of everything in the world was under his control. Moreover, this smell was something that even the time law, space law, creation law, and world law couldn't restrain. It permeated every space-time and was everywhere. Interesting. Is this the world of smell? Xia Ping's eyes revealed a glimmer of light. He was incomparably excited. He could control smell like breathing. Countless smells in the world were under his control. He could control them at will. This was the smell of joy, sorrow, pain, filth, excitement. Countless smells intertwined with each other, forming a world of smell. Chapter 27-24. Moreover, Xia Ping sensed that when every scent reached the extreme, it would undergo an incredible change, forming a unique domain that could control the emotions of living creatures and cause the enemy to fall into the illusion of scent. Scent is real, but it can also be an illusion. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He realized that the power of the flower demon's bloodline seemed to complement the true explanation of illusions that he cultivated. There was a feeling that they complemented each other. If he were to cast the power of illusions and support the flower demon's power to control scent, he would be able to cause the enemy to fall into an endless illusion, making it impossible for them to escape. It seemed that at this moment, the power of illusions also had a hint of reality and was about to evolve to the supreme realm of turning illusions into reality. He felt that the use of the flower demon's bloodline power to control scent was too beneficial to his cultivation of illusions. It was as though it had raised his realm of illusions to a whole new level. No wonder this kid can fool around in the abyss world and attract the love of countless women. It turns out that it's all because of the flower demon's bloodline power. It can freely control scent and hormone power. Xia Ping smiled. At this moment, he had already understood the mystery of the bloodline power. One must know that the reason why men and women would be attracted to each other was because of the attraction of their hormones. If a man's hormones were strong, he would attract more women and be liked by more women. When it reached a certain level, he would simply be unable to extricate himself. Of course, this power could not only attract women, but also men. Even all living things in the world would be attracted by the power of hormones. This originated from the nature of living things. It was an instinct deep in the bloodline that could not be suppressed. This power is incredible. If this flower demon were to advance to the invincible realm, I'm afraid it would definitely cause chaos in the world. I don't know how many lives would be lost. Xia Ping was amazed. The more he developed the power of the bloodline, the more he realized that the bloodline of the flower demon was very unusual. If it could completely evolve, it would definitely become a demigod-level demon that could dominate the world. As long as the flower demon used the power of hormones, it could easily obtain the favor of all living things in the world. It could even make these people who prostrated at its feet do anything without hesitation, even if they had to go through water and tread on fire. Not only could this power control everything in the world, but it could also create illusions in living beings, making them almost unable to extricate themselves and subduing their enemies without fighting. Fortunately, the flower demon was killed. Otherwise, if it were to fully mature, it would be a terrifying existence. In the blink of an eye, as Xia Ping was tempering the power of the flower demon's bloodline, the sky gradually brightened. Soon it was morning. Well, when did this happen? Is it already morning? How could it be so fast? It seems that when I cultivate, I really can't feel the passage of time. Xia Ping squinted his eyes. He felt a ray of sunlight descending from the sky. It was slightly dazzling. He stretched his waist. Forget it, I will carefully study the power of the flower demon's bloodline in the future. Now let's return to the demonic palace first. All the members of the monstrous demon palace basically lived in the monstrous demon palace. They had their own residences, and it was also heavily guarded. There were restrictive formations everywhere, so there would be no accidents. Naturally, Flower Devil Austin lived there as well. Originally, he had been staying in the monstrous demon palace. Unfortunately, last night he was tricked and left the monstrous demon palace. In the end, he was ambushed and killed in an alley. However, if Flower Devil Austin didn't die, Xia Ping wouldn't have picked up such a bargain. Swoosh. With Flower Devil Austin's memory, Xia Ping drove to the Rock Demon City's monstrous demon palace with ease. Austin, you actually didn't die? Instantly, when the few monstrous demon guards at the entrance of the monstrous demon palace saw Xia Ping appear, they couldn't help but be shocked. They widened their eyes as if they had seen a ghost. No one could imagine the shock they were feeling at this moment. Not dead? Why did I die? Do you know something? Xia Ping looked at the few monstrous demon guards with a faint smile. He also knew that Flower Devil Austin seemed to be unpopular in the monstrous demon palace. God knows how many monstrous demons were envious of him, and all of them wanted him dead. And these monstrous demon guards probably heard some news in secret, and they might even be part of the plan. They knew that Austin would be assassinated, so they were so shocked to see Austin return alive. No, nothing. We know everything. It's just that there were rumors that you met with an accident. The few monstrous demon guards were very embarrassed and guilty. They looked left and right, trying to cover up their slip of the tongue. They couldn't possibly say that they had received news that Austin was dead, right? However, Austin had appeared in front of them full of vigor. There was nothing more shocking than this. "Open the door. I've been tired for the whole night, and I want to go back and rest. Is that all right?" Xia Ping said with a smile. "No, no problem. Of course, no problem." Hearing this, one of the monstrous demon guards nodded and bowed. He quickly retreated and opened the door of the monstrous demon palace. And Xia Ping's figure flashed, and he quickly disappeared in front of these monstrous demon guards. "What's going on?" "He's just a gigolo, a guy who lives off a woman. Why are you bowing to him? Are you crazy?" A monstrous demon at the side said in disbelief. I don't know what happened just now. In that instant, I seemed to have seen a king of the abyss appear in front of me, and I subconsciously felt fear. This is really strange. I didn't have such a feeling when I saw Flower Devil Austin previously. Why is this happening now? That monstrous demon was also in disbelief. He didn't even know what he had just done. It seemed that in that instant he had developed a sense of reverence for Austin and didn't dare to look him in the eye. It seems that Austin isn't a simple character. We have completely underestimated him. An old monstrous demon at the side narrowed his eyes and revealed a thoughtful look. "Leader, what do you mean?" A few monstrous demon guards asked curiously. "Think about it. There was news this morning that Austin met with an accident and died outside. But now, Austin has suddenly returned. Why would such news appear? It's obvious that some monstrous demon had tried to kill Austin and thought that he had killed Austin. Unexpectedly, Austin managed to escape and returned alive. From this, we can see that Austin isn't as simple as we thought. He's very unfathomable." The old monstrous demon said in a deep voice. Then what should we do now?" A few monstrous demon guards asked anxiously. "Just act as if nothing happened. Both sides are big shots, and it's not something we can get involved in. I've been a guard in the Devil Demon Palace for so many years, and I'm still alive because of one thing, pretending to be deaf and mute," the old monstrous demon said indifferently. Chapter 27-25. Rock Demon City, Monster Demon Palace, a mansion. At this moment, Xia Ping had already returned to his mansion in Monster Demon Palace. This was a luxurious mansion that occupied an area of more than 100 acres. There were dozens of guest rooms, a swimming pool, a garden, and all kinds of cultivation rooms. There were even maids and guards. It was just like a palace. It was extremely luxurious. Even such a house was of an extremely high level in Monster Demon Palace. Ordinary immortal fiendish demons would not be able to live in such a house. A house with 3 rooms and 2 living rooms was already not bad. The treatment was also very good. Normally, Flower Devil Austin was just an immortal realm fiendish demon. He had just joined Monster Demon Palace not long ago and had not made any contributions. It was impossible for him to live in such a house. However, he had hooked up with Monica, the daughter of the Monster Demon Palace's branch hall master in Rock Demon City. With Monica's connections, he could live in this place openly. In fact, Monica had a total of 10 mansions like this. She had only bestowed one of these mansions to Austin. At this moment, Xia Ping finally understood why Austin was so hated. A puny immortal fiendish demon who had not made any contributions was actually enjoying such treatment in Monster Demon Palace. One could imagine the resentment and dissatisfaction of other fiendish demons. It was especially so for those fiendish demons who thought that they had done a lot of hard work. When they saw Austin's treatment, all of them wanted to tear him apart. They thought that he was just a pretty boy. He had only hooked up with a woman, yet he was treated better than them. It would be strange if they were convinced. "Master!" When the many maids and guards of the mansion saw Xia Ping return, they were all shocked. This was because they had heard the news that Austin had died outside, and the news had spread like wildfire, so they believed it to be true. But now, he had returned alive. It was really unbelievable. However, as servants, they still suppressed the shock in their hearts. They did not dare to show any emotions, for fear of displeasing their master. After all, their master had the power to kill them. Other fiendish demons could look down on Austin, but they could not. They could not even show it. Xia Ping nodded arrogantly, not planning to talk to these guards and maids. But to these servants, this was a matter of course. Austin was such a demon, and they had long been accustomed to it. They even thought that it was a very normal thing. Austin. Just then, a series of crisp sounds came from outside the mansion. Then, a large group of fiendish demons walked in from outside the mansion. They seemed to be treating this place like their own home. Huh? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He immediately saw a 9 meters tall, slender, and sexy woman walking over. She had all the parts that a woman should have, and she was extremely outstanding. Her entire body exuded a strong feminine aura. She had a perfect face, eyes like spring water, and a pair of demonic horns on her head. Her body seemed to be shrouded in moonlight, and her aura was unfathomable. This was a demon at the pinnacle of the archaic realm. Moon Demon Monica. He immediately recognized this beautiful female demon as the legendary Moon Demon Monica. She was the flower of the Rock Demon City, a rose with thorns that countless male fiendish demons desired. At the same time, she was also the only daughter of the Rock Demon City's sub-hall master, the Demon Palace's elder, the Night Demon King. This series of titles made Monica the most famous female fiendish demon in the Rock Demon City. Countless fiendish demons wanted to bow down to her. And such a female fiendish demon had been taken by Austin. One could imagine how many fiendish demons hated and envied Austin. But in Flower Demon Austin's memory, although he and Monica became boyfriend and girlfriend, they did not spend much time together. He even had a feeling that Austin was just one of Monica's toys. If she liked him, she would naturally like him very much. But if she hated him, he would probably be thrown away. However, Flower Devil Austin was already prepared. In fact, for a prodigal son of love like him, being a spare tire and using other women as a spare tire were common occurrences. They were just out to have some fun. Why so serious? That's great, you really didn't die. I heard that you died outside. It's great to see that you're fine. Monica heaved a sigh of relief when she saw Xia Ping. Then she looked Xia Ping up and down with her beautiful eyes. There seemed to be a strange power enveloping Xia Ping's body, as if she was sensing something. But this news isn't groundless. Did you really encounter something last night? Her eyes flickered, revealing a hint of killing intent. Because everyone in the Rock Demon City knew that Austin was her man. Now, there were actually other fiendish demons that dared to lay their hands on Austin. Wasn't that a slap to Monica's face? As the daughter of the Night Demon King, she definitely could not tolerate such a thing happening. This was the dignity of a king's daughter. Woman, don't be a busybody. This is a matter between us men. Don't interfere. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and said to Monica indifferently, "What?" Hearing this, the guards and maids in the mansion, as well as the dozen maids that came with Monica, widened their eyes. They couldn't believe that Austin actually dared to say such a thing. To be honest, in their impression, this Austin was just a gigolo that lived off a woman. He was always by Monica's side, telling jokes like a dog, constantly trying to please Monica, afraid that Monica would get angry. Of course, they also despised men who were like gigolos the most. All of them were waiting to watch a good show. They were waiting to see when Monica would hate this gigolo and kick him away. But what did this guy mean? He actually dared to speak to Lady Monica in such a tone. Was this guy completely crazy? Or was he crazy? Monica was also a little stunned. Because this was the first time in her life that a man dared to speak to her like this. After all, as the daughter of the Night Demon King, she was born noble. Since young, no one dared to provoke her. Who dared to speak to her in such a tone? Even her father didn't speak to her like this. But this Austin was the first man to be so daring. What is this? Don't you understand? Don't bother about this. It has nothing to do with you. This is a war. Woman, go away. Xia Ping frowned and spoke to Monica in a very serious tone. This tone was simply scolding. Chapter 27-26. To be honest, there was a reason why Xia Ping used such a tone. After all, he came to the Abyss as a spy this time, hoping to find out all kinds of information about the Abyss. If he continued to have relationships with the people around Austin, it would be very disadvantageous to his next actions. Since that was the case, he wanted to take the opportunity to break off his relationship with Monica. It would be best if Monica hated him and kicked him away so that he could act alone. Of course, if he offended Monica, this mansion might be uninhabitable. But he did not want to live in such a place. To be honest, he had lived in all kinds of houses. He even owned an entire world. A mere house was nothing to him. Achieving his goal was the most important thing. Okay, I got it. I'll be good in the future and won't care about your matters anymore. But to Xia Ping's surprise, Monica did not get angry after hearing these words. Instead, her pretty face blushed, and she looked like a little woman in love. She became extremely obedient. Xia Ping blinked. He felt that this woman seemed to be a little crazy. Could it be that this woman's brain was damaged? Could it be that she did not understand what he said at all? Normally, after a woman heard these words, would she not slap him angrily? It seemed that this woman's illness was not light. He needed to increase the dosage. By the way, Austin, I usually bear the monthly expenses of this mansion. I'm afraid that from this month onwards, you'll have to bear it, Monica said cautiously. What? Xia Ping raised his voice. Why do you need me to bear it? Don't you have 10 mansions? You're very rich. Can't you afford this little money? You actually need a man to pay for your daily necessities. What kind of woman are you? He looked at Monica with disdain as if he was looking at a scumbag. What? Hearing this, the surrounding guards and maids were dumbfounded and speechless. It was the first time they had seen such a shameless man. Generally speaking, wasn't it natural for men to bear the daily necessities? But from this man's mouth, it was the complete opposite. Was living off a woman so natural? They looked at Xia Ping in disbelief, as if it was their first time meeting this man. But I'm afraid that my father will be returning from the Demon Palace's headquarters soon. I'm afraid that if my father finds out about this, he'll say that you're living off a woman. It won't be good if word gets out. Monica said shyly. Shut up. Xia Ping shouted, Monica, you're looking down on me too much. So what if I have to suffer some rumors in order to be with you? Do you think I'm the kind of man who cares about what the outside world thinks of me? If I cared about that, I would never have gotten together with you in the first place. Do you understand? The group of maids was dumbfounded. They did not know how to describe what they were thinking in the depths of their hearts. This was the first time they had seen a man living off a woman be so righteous. It was as if it was a great honor for the other party to be willing to live off them. Now, they didn't know who was the master and who was the servant. But Monica looked hesitant. Done. Xia Ping waved his hand. Monica, you're not teaching me how to do things, right? I know what I'm doing. Don't ask about it in the future, understand? And I understand, Lord Austin. Whatever you say, I'll do it obediently. Monica's pretty face was crimson red, and she nodded her head repeatedly. Her beautiful eyes seemed to be emitting red hearts, as if she had completely fallen in love, as if she had completely lost her mind. Seeing Monica like this, Xia Ping, he was speechless. He felt that this woman was indeed crazy, and the kind that could not be saved. He had clearly used all his strength to kick this woman away, hoping that this woman would fly into a rage and leave on her own. But who would have thought that his words would actually have the opposite effect? Instead, she would like him even more. What was going on? Cough cough, that's right, I want to take on some missions from the Demon Palace to increase my authority in the Demon Palace. You can go and find some missions that are easy and have a lot of benefits. Xia Ping felt that since this was the case, he might as well make use of this woman's value. But the missions in the Demon Palace are all very dangerous. Monica was a little worried about his safety. Monica, are you teaching me how to do things? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. Hearing this, Monica jumped in fright and immediately said, No, I'll help you find them right now. Trust me, I'll soon find missions that are easy and have a lot of rewards. She made a promise. And that's good. I'm a little tired, you can leave first. I need to rest. Xia Ping waved his hand, gesturing for her to leave. Lord Austin, do you need me to serve you? Monica said affectionately. Fuck, this female demon can't be thinking of eating me, right? Seeing this female demon like this, Xia Ping immediately felt a little frightened. Although he had been in the brothel for many years, he had never tried with a demon. After all, he was a human. Who knew what would happen if he was with a demon? He coughed. No need, I've been through some things before, and my body is a little tired. By the way, Lord Austin must have experienced some danger, that's why such news came out. Since that's the case, I won't disturb you today. Lord Austin will be leaving. I'll come back to see you tomorrow. Hearing this, Monica could not help but nod, feeling that Xia Ping's words made sense. So. Then she waved her hand and quickly left the mansion with her subordinates. Her actions were very swift and decisive. When the maids and guards saw this scene, they didn't know what words to use to describe the reverence in the depths of their hearts. This was the first time they saw Sir Austin tame Lady Monica to such an extent. Now, they did not know who was the master of this place. Alright, close the door. No matter who comes today, don't let them in, understand? Xia Ping said to the guards and maids. Understood, Lord Austin. The maids and maids immediately nodded. They did not know why, but they felt that the current Austin was more than 1,000 times more dignified than before. This kind of aura and dignity made them feel as if they had met the King of the Abyss, and they did not dare to disobey his orders. Chapter 27:27. At this moment, there was a mansion in the Rock Demon City's Devil Palace. That was the mansion that Moon Demon Monica lived in. Master, weren't you too nice to that Austin just now? He actually dared to speak to you in such a tone. How preposterous. A maid was filled with righteous indignation, feeling unconvinced on behalf of her master, Monica. That man was clearly just a gigolo, yet he dared to speak to his mistress in such a tone. Could it be that this bastard couldn't tell who was the boss? If her master was willing, she could kick this gigolo away at any time and make this bastard lose all his power and wealth. She would let this bastard know what life at the bottom was like. That's right. Master, you shouldn't be so gentle to that Austin. That bastard is simply treating Master as his own servant. He really has no respect for his elders. Austin wasn't so arrogant before. He's really getting more and more arrogant now. I feel that Master still dotes on him too much. It's making him a little lawless. That's right. If we don't control him, who knows what will happen? The numerous maids discussed animatedly, and they expressed that Monica truly pampered Austin too much. That was why Austin was so unbridled and fearless. Those words and that expression just now made them very angry. Indeed, Austin was a little fierce just now. However, I don't know why, but I feel that he's very manly. The fiercer he is, the more I like him. That tone, that attitude, it's really too charming. I've never seen such a charming man. Monica cupped her face with her hands. Her pretty face was red, and she had a look of infatuation. Hearing this, the maids' mouths twitched. They didn't know what to say. They could only say that their master had been completely poisoned by Flower Devil Austin. Otherwise, how could she have lost her rationality like this? That's right. Lord Austin seems to want to complete the Devil Palace's mission. He needs easy and high rewards. You need to work hard to find them. Otherwise, Lord Austin will be angry. Monica immediately remembered the mission Xia Ping had given her just now. She immediately cried out. She was burning with anxiety. He was even more concerned about her own matters. There's no hope. The group of maids were speechless. They originally wanted to persuade her, but now they couldn't say anything. If they continued to persuade her, they were afraid that they would make Monica angry. At that time, they would probably be finished. Also, Lord Austin's current strength isn't enough. If he wants to continue increasing his strength, I'm afraid he'll need a large number of treasures. Go to my treasury and take out 9 types of abyssal elixirs and send them to Lord Austin. Let him increase his strength so that he can survive the mission. Monica ordered the maid beside her. Yes, Lady Monica. The group of maids were speechless. They felt that their master, Monica, was completely done for. She had even given away the treasures in her treasury. It must be known that these treasures were treasures that Monica had accumulated over many years. Some were even supreme treasures that the Night Devil King had gifted to his daughter. They were priceless in the abyss, and even the Abyss Devil King coveted them. But now it was given to a pretty boy. Was there any justice in this? They didn't know how to describe this kind of behavior, but this was their master Monica's order, and they couldn't disobey it. These maids could only secretly curse that Austin, wanting this hateful pretty boy to quickly disappear and not continue to harm their master, Monica. In another place, in the depths of the Rock Demon City's demon palace, a dozen or so fiendish demons were gathered in a secret room. Some of them had appeared in that small alley before. What's going on? Didn't you guys say that you've already killed that flower demon Austin personally? And now this bastard has returned to the demon palace alive and well? Even Monica is doting on him. What the hell are you guys doing? Can't you guys even do such a small thing? A young demon that looked like a rich young master bellowed out with a malevolent expression. He was extremely infuriated and gritted his teeth. He couldn't wait to eat these demons beside him alive. He was the son of the Rock Demon City's deputy hall master, known as the Six-Armed Lion Demon Chapman. His strength had reached the pinnacle of immemorial ancient state, and his body was emanating a terrifying demonic aura. No one could imagine the rage he was feeling right now. Initially, he had spread the news in the morning that Flower Demon Austin was dead, and many demons had believed it. But now, Flower Demon Austin had come back to life, brimming with energy. Something like this was just like a slap to his face, turning him into the laughing stock of the demon palace. They were mocking him for not being able to do such a small thing properly. I'm sorry, Lord Chapman. Last night we confirmed it again and again. Indeed, we thought that Austin was dead, and his soul had dissipated. But for some reason he came back alive today. This is unbelievable. That demon also felt that this was too ridiculous. Last night, they had confirmed it again and again that even the King of the Abyss wouldn't be able to save Austin. But what happened this morning was like a slap to their faces, and they were too ashamed to show their faces. Truth be told, when they saw Austin return, it was as though they had seen a ghost. For a few minutes, their minds were blank and they couldn't think of anything. Dead? If he's really dead, what's going on with Austin this morning? Do you guys think that that lad is an imposter? The Six-Armed Lion Demon Chapman scoffed coldly. Truth be told, that's what we thought. The few demons braced themselves and said, Bullshit, you still dare to quibble? The Six-Armed Lion Demon Chapman shouted angrily. As a member of the Demon Palace, every member's soul aura is connected to the Demon Palace's token. If the other party is an imposter, there's no way he could enter the Demon Palace, and he would be detected instantly. Moreover, Miss Monica is the famous moon demon, and her strength has reached the pinnacle of the archaic realm. Her eyes can see through all illusions. If that lad is an imposter, do you think Miss Monica wouldn't be able to see through it? It cursed loudly, so much so that its spittle was flying all over the place. In fact, he had suspected that the other party might be an imposter at the beginning. But after thinking about it carefully, the Demon Palace's restrictive formation was very tight, and it wasn't something an ordinary demon could imagine. Even the King of the Abyss couldn't escape the detection of the Demon Palace's restrictive formation, let alone other demons. If the flower demon Austin was really an imposter, he would have been immediately detected the moment he entered. He might even have been killed on the spot and died without a complete corpse. Chapter 27-28. It was also because of this reason that Six-Armed Lion Devil Chapman thought that Flower Devil Austin wasn't dead at all, and that they had made a mistake this time, resulting in a complete failure of the mission. That was why he was so angry. He was simply furious. But if that Flower Devil Austin really isn't dead, then how did he survive last night? We did check several times, but we didn't find any reason for him to survive. Many fiendish demons were confused. They couldn't understand it no matter how hard they thought. They had clearly confirmed that Flower Devil Austin was dead, but he still came back alive in the morning. This was like seeing a ghost, and they couldn't understand it no matter how hard they thought. There could only be two reasons for this. Six-armed lion Devil Chapman squinted his eyes and revealed a terrifying glint. First, this Flower Devil Austin has a bloodline ability that allows him to resurrect from the dead. On the surface, he was killed by you guys, but in reality, he didn't die at all. Instead, this attack triggered his powerful bloodline ability, which allowed him to come back alive. Resurrect from the dead? You must be joking. Is there such an ability in the abyss? Hearing this, all the fiendish demons were completely stunned. They simply couldn't believe it. Of course there is, but you guys are just ignorant. In fact, there is a king in the abyss that has such an ability. He is known as the unkillable Devil King. No matter how many times he dies, he can resurrect from the ashes. Even in the primordial era, such a tragic war couldn't kill him. Six-armed lion Devil Chapman sneered. Although I don't want to admit it, this Flower Devil is probably very special. He might have the same bloodline ability as the Abyss King. As the son of the Vice Palace Master, he naturally knew a lot of information that normal fiendish demons didn't know. No way? If there really is such a divine ability to resurrect from the dead, then who else can kill it? The fiendish demons swallowed their saliva and were simply dumbfounded. Of course it can't be that sick. In fact, this ability also has a weakness, but it's hidden. Our levels are still too low, so it's impossible for us to know such a secret. Six-armed lion Devil Chapman said in a deep voice, "Of course, I'm just guessing. This doesn't mean that the Flower Devil really has the same bloodline ability as the Abyss King." Then what's the second possibility? An ancient fiendish demon could not help but ask. That's an illusion. Six-armed Devil Lion Chapman narrowed his eyes. Clearly, that Flower Devil Austin might be proficient in an extremely powerful illusion technique. At the crucial moment, he made you fall into an illusion silently, making you think that you killed Austin. That's why you came back so quickly, and this kid could escape easily. Illusion? Hearing this, many of the fiendish demons could not help but shudder. Indeed, the possibility was very high. If they were hit by the Flower Devil Austin last night and mistakenly thought that they had killed Austin, the real Austin was not dead at all and was just watching the show from the side. In fact, in the abyss, although there were very few demons who were proficient in illusions, they were not non-existent. This flower demon Austin might be one of them. They all felt that the possibility was very high. That resurrection bloodline ability was too ridiculous. It was simply an ability that did not conform to common sense. It was already amazing for such an abyss demon to appear, and it was impossible for a second one to appear. This was an ability that even the heavens would be jealous of. In other words, we might have fallen into an illusion last night, and we were all played by that Flower Devil Austin like fools? The group of fiendish demons had gloomy expressions. When they thought of such a possibility, their faces turned a little green. This was simply a great humiliation. They were clearly going to kill this Flower Devil Austin, but they were played like monkeys by the Flower Devil Austin. They thought that they were the hunters, but they did not expect to become the prey. How could they accept such humiliation? They were on the verge of going crazy. Lord Chapman, that kid is just an immortal fiendish demon. Is he really proficient in such a powerful illusion technique? To make us, the higher fiendish demons, fall into an illusion and be unable to extricate ourselves? A fiendish demon asked. Although that kid is weak, there are similar mystical items or treasures in the abyss that can make fiendish demons fall into an illusion silently and be unable to extricate themselves. Six-armed lion Demon Chapman said in a deep voice, "If that kid has such an abyss mystical item, it is not impossible for him to make you fall into an illusion silently." He explained his understanding. I see. Many fiendish demons could not help but nod. They also felt that the possibility was too high. Even if the Flower Devil Austin was weak, the abyss mystical item could surpass the limits of strength. If they were not careful, even the Abyss King would fall into the trap, let alone them. Damnable Austin. He actually dared to play tricks on us like this. He's courting death. I'll definitely skin this bastard alive and tear his tendons out before tearing his corpse into pieces to vent the rage in my heart. A fiendish demon gritted his teeth in anger. He had never been played like this by a puny immortal fiendish demon in his life. This was simply the greatest humiliation of his life. If this matter were to spread, he would become the laughingstock of many higher fiendish demons. But after this kid experienced such an assassination, it will not be so easy to lure him in the next time. I'm afraid it will be even more difficult than before. Yeah, if he continues to stay in the fiendish demon palace, we will not be able to do anything to him. If he never leaves, it will be even more difficult for us to take revenge. Many fiendish demons clench their fists, their faces extremely ugly. Don't worry, I have already received the news. I don't know what happened to that kid, but he actually wants to participate in the mission issued by the fiendish demon palace in an attempt to raise his rank in the fiendish demon palace. Six-armed lion demon Chapman narrowed his eyes. This way, he will have to leave the fiendish demon palace in order to complete the mission. At that time, we will secretly follow him, or directly participate in the same mission as him. Then that kid will be dead for sure. I will also personally take part in this operation. We must put that kid to death. What? Many fiendish demons were shocked. They completely did not expect six-armed lion demon Chapman to personally take part in this operation. One could imagine how much hatred this flower devil Austin had aroused. When the time comes, get ready. This time, there must be no mistakes. Don't make any mistakes. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless. Six-armed lion demon Chapman was filled with killing intent. Many fiendish demons nodded solemnly. Chapter 27-29. Noon of the second day. Monica arrived as promised. She looked at Xia Ping with an infatuated expression. She blushed and said, "Lord Austin, last night I ordered my subordinates to find more than 80 quests of various sizes. Which one would you like to take?" "Oh, what mission?" Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He looked at the dark gold cards in Monica's hand. The contents of the missions were depicted on them. These were the unique mission cards of the Monster Demon Palace. However, these mission cards could only be obtained by accepting the mission. However, what kind of mission was Monica? She used her influence to directly intercept all of these missions and then let Xia Ping slowly choose from them. After Xia Ping finished choosing, these missions would be handed over to the other demons. This was the evil power of the world. If the other fiendish demons in the fiendish demon palace knew about this, they would probably be envious and jealous. Their hatred for Xia Ping would probably rise to another level. Interesting. Xia Ping scanned them with his divine sense and immediately knew the contents of these missions. To be honest, most of the missions in the Devil Demon Palace were to hunt down fiendish demons. This was because the Monster Demon Palace was actually a law enforcement organization that spanned across the entire abyss. They were responsible for supervising the various kingdoms and maintaining the law and order of the various kingdoms. However, as demons of the abyss, they were all fierce and cruel. They were born brutal and filled with the desire to kill at all times. This originated from the instincts of demons. It was simply a fantasy to use a piece of law to restrain these abyssal demons. Even under the suppression of the Monster Demon Palace and the kings of the abyss, most of the demons of the abyss already obeyed the law and would not kill the innocent. However, there were still a small number of demons who could not control their impulses and caused terrible massacres everywhere, resulting in countless deaths and injuries. This kind of behavior violated the laws of the abyss and would be directly punished. Of course, ordinary demons could be dealt with by the guards of the various kingdoms. However, there were also some terrifying demons that required the elites of the Monster Demon Palace to deal with. Obviously, these missions were issued by the various kingdoms because they could not deal with them and were handed over to the Monster Demon Palace. However, apart from these missions, there were also many special missions. For example, exploring the Abyss Mystic Realm. In fact, even the demons of the Abyss did not have a 100% understanding of the vast abyss. There were still many powerful and dangerous mystic realms. Even abyssal monarchs wouldn't dare to casually enter a secret realm like this. Therefore, those higher demons would issue these exploration tasks, hoping that other demons would help them explore. Of course, since this kind of mission was extremely dangerous and had a slim chance of survival, the rewards were also quite shocking. Many fiendish demons were willing to take the risk. In addition to exploring the secret realm, there were also some tasks that surprised Xia Ping, and that was being a spy. This kind of mission seemed to require some loyal and devoted demons to go through the training of the Demon Palace. Then, they would silently sneak into the modern universe and become spies of the abyss. Such a spy would also be hidden for a long time and would only be exposed at a critical moment. Interesting. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He didn't expect the Monster Demon Palace to issue such a mission so brazenly. It was as if they were saying that they had planted many spies in the modern universe. However, if he thought about it carefully, the Devil Demon Palace's behavior was actually very normal. After all, this place was the deepest part of the abyss. It was impossible for all living beings in the universe to enter. Otherwise, they would be quickly corroded by the power of the abyss and become abyssal creatures. Therefore, of course, they had nothing to fear and were not afraid that their information would be leaked. It could be imagined that the abyss demons had probably infiltrated the modern universe for many years. It was unknown how many eras it had gone through and how many spies had been planted. They had prepared such a plan for the next war. Once a war broke out, it would definitely cause great damage to all the races in the universe. Thinking of this, Xia Ping felt that the abyss demons were even more terrifying. This race had prepared for such a long time. Once a war broke out, the scale and destructive power would probably not be comparable to that of the immemorial era. Lord Austin, which mission do you want to take? Monica looked at Xia Ping and asked. This mission. Upon hearing this, Xia Ping casually pointed at one of the mission cards. Kill the Sand Demon. Monica's beautiful eyes lit up when she saw this mission card. Lord Austin, this mission is not simple. The Sand Demon is a famous fiendish demon. It has been on the run for more than 100 years. In these 100 years, it has committed many evil deeds. It has destroyed more than a dozen cities and slaughtered all the fiendish demons in a small city each time. It is extremely cruel. It is a class A major criminal and can be executed on the spot without a trial. This sand demon was addicted to blood and slaughtered for a living. Its combat strength was extremely strong, and its whereabouts were also extremely secretive. The Devil Demon Palace had once sent an elite team to chase after this demon, but it had escaped and even killed a few of them. According to the information, this demon's strength has probably reached the near ancient realm. She knew that the sand demon's strength was not simple and its combat power was outstanding. And Austin was only an undying demon. If he took this mission, it was not important if he failed. He was afraid that he would be killed by the sand demon. That would be too unjust. What? Are you worried that I am not a match for this sand demon? Xia Ping glanced at her. To be honest, he wanted to take on more difficult missions. However, his current identity was only an undying demon. His rank in the Monster Demon Palace was very low and he could not take on more difficult missions. The mission to kill the Sand Demon was the one with the best rewards. Once he completed it, his authority and status in the Devil Demon Palace would rise to a higher level. Of course, he was not afraid of exposing his true strength. Because with the power of the true demon god, even if he exposed his strength that far exceeded the undying realm, other fiendish demons would only think that he had hidden his strength before. He would not be suspected of being replaced by other fiendish demons. This was the terrifying power of the true demon god. It could twist anything that did not make sense into something reasonable. Other life forms would not feel the slightest bit strange. That was why he was so fearless. He wanted to become a top member of the Monster Demon Palace as soon as possible and obtain high authority in the Monster Demon Palace so that he could obtain important information. Hearing this, Monica immediately shook her head. No. Of course I am not worried that you are not a match for the Sand Demon. I am just worried that there might be some accidents. She looked at Xia Ping anxiously. Chapter 2730. It's good that you're not worried. It's just a mere sand demon. I can kill it with a wave of my hand. It's not worth mentioning. That's it. Women, don't make irresponsible remarks when I do things. Just watch obediently, got it? Xia Ping said domineeringly with his hands behind his back. Yes, I got it. Even though his tone was domineering, Monica looked like she was enjoying it. Her face was flushed red as she nodded her head vigorously. She looked at Xia Ping with an even more infatuated look. Her face was flushed red as she screamed in her heart. Lord Austin is too domineering. Too charming. No wonder he's the man I've fallen for. He's too charming. Seeing this, the surrounding maids were speechless. They did not know what to say. After all, they did not share the same emotions as Monica. They all felt that this flower devil Austin had gone completely mad. He was clearly only at the sempiternal realm, and yet he dared to accept this mission to hunt down a near ancient realm sand demon. Was this gigolo tired of living too long? Was he courting death? But this was good too. If the sand demon killed Austin, Lady Monica would be able to return to her original state. She would not be toyed with by this bastard Austin. Right, Lord Austin? Even though I can't interfere with your mission, I still have many treasures on me. I can give them to you. I believe they'll be of great help to you in killing the sand demon. Suddenly, Monica seemed to have thought of something. She waved her hand and took out 9 treasures. Each of the abyss treasures exuded an extraordinary aura. Oh my God, that's the nightmare vine. The group of maids could not help but widen their eyes in disbelief. That was because each of the abyss treasures was priceless. They were the type that could not be bought with money. Abyss treasure nightmare vine. This was an extremely terrifying plant that came from the depths of the abyss. It could kill demons like flies. It could grow billions of roots that were indestructible and possessed the power of immortality. Once one was entangled by the nightmare vine, it would automatically release nightmare demonic chi. The prey that was caught would instantly fall into a nightmare and fall into a deep sleep. Following that, the nightmare vine would devour the sleeping prey and turn them into nourishment for its growth. It was unknown how many demons had died in the hands of the nightmare vine in the abyss. However, the nightmare vine was also a top-notch pet. Once the soul of the nightmare vine was refined, the nightmare vine would become its most loyal guard. It would then be able to control the nightmare vine to kill many demons. If it was attacked, the nightmare vine would even protect its host. It could be said that this was a top-notch treasure. Countless demons wanted to get their hands on a nightmare vine because it was a treasure for both offense and defense. The Night Devil King had plucked it from an abyss secret realm for his daughter, giving it to his daughter, Monica, to protect herself. But now, Lady Monica actually wanted to gift the nightmare vine to this gigolo. If this was a joke, then it would be a huge joke. If the other fiendish demons knew about this, they would probably be so jealous that their intestines would turn green. To be honest, they also knew that Austin was doted on, but they didn't expect him to be doted on to this extent by Lady Monica. She was even willing to take out such a treasure. This is the ice thorn demonic fruit. One of the maids screamed again. She saw the second treasure. It was a snow-white, crystal-like fruit. There were dense demonic thorns growing on its surface. To be honest, although this treasure wasn't as famous as the nightmare vine, it was also a top-notch life-saving treasure. This fruit was condensed by the famous ice thorn devil king. If this ice thorn demonic fruit was thrown out, it would immediately explode all the power of the ice thorn demonic fruit. The power of this ice thorn demonic fruit was also extremely terrifying. Once it exploded, it would burst out billions of demonic thorns. These thorns had indestructible power. Even the laws of space and time couldn't defend against them. They could also shatter space barriers and easily penetrate the bodies of many ancient demons. If these thorns hit an enemy, they could instantly freeze the enemy into an ice sculpture. The terrifying cold aura would instantly shatter the enemy's soul. It could be said that this was an extremely lethal one-time use treasure. If he encountered any danger, he could throw this ice thorn demonic fruit and instantly kill the enemy. To be honest, the sand demon was very terrifying. However, if he was hit by this ice thorn demonic fruit, he would probably be in trouble. He would instantly be frozen and die without a complete corpse. Abyss Demon Treasure, Shadow Boots. Another maid sucked in a breath of cold air and was extremely shocked. When they saw this pair of treasured boots, they were also dumbstruck and almost went crazy. This was another precious treasure that Lord Night Devil King gifted to Lord Monica. It was said that this pair of boots was made from 108 types of precious abyss materials. It was engraved with all sorts of law patterns personally drawn by the Night Devil King. It contained the laws of darkness, shadow, and so on. If one wore this pair of boots, they would immediately obtain the power of shadow. Once they used the power of shadow, they would be able to silently blend into the depths of the void and turn into a shadow. They would be formless and could easily escape. Most of the power would be unable to attack the body. Without a doubt, if one wore this pair of boots, their life-saving ability would increase by 10 times. As long as they were willing, they would be able to escape no matter how great the danger was. Originally, the Night Devil King had gifted it to Lady Monica for the sake of his daughter's safety. Now, he had actually gifted it to this gigolo, Austin. This was simply crazy. To be honest, not to mention the other male demons, even the maidservants were extremely jealous. Why was this gigolo so doted on by Lady Monica to the extent that she was willing to gift him such a treasure? Other than these 3 treasures, the other 6 treasures were also incredible. If they were taken out, they would definitely cause many demons in the Hall of Monsters and Demons to fight over them. Seeing these treasures, even Xia Ping, who had extremely sharp eyes, could tell that the abyss treasures that Monica had taken out were very unusual. They were the kind that even the ancient sages would drool over. One could totally imagine how rich Monica was. At the same time, he was also very speechless. Was this the benefit of being a gigolo? As long as he hugged the thighs of a rich woman, he probably wouldn't have to worry for the rest of his life. He didn't even need to work hard as everything was prepared. It was no wonder that when the other demons saw this situation, they couldn't wait to kill this gigolo, Austin. Any demon who saw this scene would probably feel very unbalanced. Envy, jealousy, and hatred were not enough to describe the feelings of those demons. Chapter 2731. That's too much. Am I the kind of man that even the sand demon can't deal with in your eyes? Do I need you to humiliate me with these so-called treasures? Xia Ping widened his eyes and stared at Monica. This. Hearing this, Monica immediately panicked. No, I didn't mean that. But if Lord Austin isn't happy about it, I'll take it back. She was a little worried that Xia Ping would get angry. It seemed that her flattery had gone too far. That's enough. Xia Ping waved his hand and said casually, although I don't really want these things, this is your kind intention. How can I reject it? Remember, don't do it again. With a wave of his hand, he kept all the treasures into his pouch. He didn't leave a single one behind. His movements were extremely quick and practiced. I understand. Monica's pretty face was bright red as she nodded vigorously. When the maids at the side heard this, their mouths twitched. If it wasn't for the fact that Lord Monica was still at the side, they would definitely rush up and hammer this pretentious gigolo to death. He was clearly dizzy from Lord Monica's gift and couldn't contain his joy, yet he was still putting on an act and saying that he wasn't the kind of person who coveted gifts. Tui, if he really wasn't that kind of person, then he shouldn't have accepted it. However, this gigolo whose skin was thicker than the city wall had actually accepted the gift just like that. Not only had he accepted all the treasures and obtained all the benefits, but he had also made Lord Monica feel that she owed this gigolo. She felt extremely guilty. This gigolo really had a wishful thinking. Not only did he take all the benefits, but he also had to let others owe him a favor. They had never seen such a thick-skinned person before. They grimaced and wanted to hammer this shameless gigolo to death. By the way, do you know where the sand demon is? Xia Ping asked. I know. I've already mobilized all the intelligence networks and found where the sand demon is. It said that it's hidden in a crouching bull mountain range 10 light years away. Monica nodded. However, The Crouching Ox Mountains cover a very large area. There are lofty mountains everywhere, and the terrain is extremely complicated. Moreover, the sand demon is skilled in hiding, so we don't know its exact location for now. It was precisely because the sand demon was good at concealment that it could turn into sand at any time and silently blend into the earth. Even demons that were stronger than the sand demon would not be able to track it down. That was why it had been able to roam freely for 100 years and commit countless crimes, but it had never been killed or captured by the demons of the Devil Demon Palace. In the Crouching Ox Mountain range? Enough, I'll be back soon. I'll kill this sand demon and prepare a sumptuous dinner for you tonight. Xia Ping nodded, expressing his understanding. He had the Golden Crow's eyes of hell, which could see through all illusions. Even a god's restriction couldn't stop him. A mere sand demon wanted to hide from his eyes? That was simply a fool's dream. As long as he knew the exact location of the sand devil would definitely die. All right, I understand. Monica was extremely tempted. She discovered that the man she liked was just too domineering. He had clearly not even started fighting, but he had already treated the sand demon like a dead person. The female attendants on the side could not stand it anymore. Right now, they almost lost control of their urge to hammer the pretty boy to death. Fuck, would this bastard die if he didn't pretend to be something? The sand demon was an old demon that had committed countless crimes. It was also a demon from ancient times, so its ability to hide was extremely great. Even if the demons from the Middle Ages encountered the sand demon, they might not be able to kill it. However, this pretty boy was clearly only an immortal demon. Let alone whether they could find him or not, even if they really did find him, he would probably be hammered to death by the sand demon. With this bit of strength, he would just be sending himself to death. However, this pretty boy still did not know this. He was actually pointing out the situation here, saying that he would kill the sand demon tonight and come back, so he asked Madame Monica to prepare dinner for him. They had never seen a pretty boy who liked to pretend so much. It was a little unbearable for them. Probably only Madame Monica would believe such ridiculous words from this pretty boy. Xia Ping did not care about the expressions of the other female attendants. He walked out of the mansion. With a flash of his body, he quickly disappeared in front of the many fiendish demons and left the Devil Demon Palace. The news of Xia Ping leaving the Devil Demon Palace quickly spread to the ears of the fiendish demons. After all, Xia Ping had no intention of hiding his intentions when he made his move this time. What? Austin left the Devil Demon Palace? How could he be so fast? What did he go to do? Some fiendish demons were shocked when they heard the news. Because according to their thoughts, this kid should not dare to leave the Devil Demon Palace for a short period of time after he was assassinated. However, only a few days had passed and this kid actually dared to leave the Devil Demon Palace. Such audacity! Could it be that he was not afraid of encountering the next assassination attempt? I heard that the kid seemed to have gotten rid of Madame Monica and found some missions. He is planning to leave the Devil Demon Palace to complete the missions. I'm afraid he is chasing after some wanted criminals of the Devil Demon Palace. A fiendish demon said in a deep voice. What an arrogant bastard. He simply has no demons in his eyes. He is looking down on demons. He clearly knows that there are other fiendish demons chasing after him, but he still dares to appear. He really doesn't know how to write the word death. Some of the fiendish demons gritted their teeth in anger. They felt that they had been completely underestimated by Austin. They were fooled by this bastard previously and might have fallen into his illusion. Now, he still dared to leave the Devil Demon Palace so brazenly. Obviously, the assassination attempt last time was nothing to this kid. It was just a game. That was why he was so arrogant. However, when they thought of this, they felt even more sullen. They had painstakingly prepared a plan for such a long time, but it was easily destroyed by this pretty boy. Even a pig would not be able to tolerate such a thing. It's good that this kid is arrogant. The six-armed lion demon Chapman rushed over at this moment. There was a trace of coldness in his eyes. Initially, I couldn't find any opportunity to deal with him. I didn't expect him to come to me voluntarily. Since that's the case, I will send him to hell today. He clenched his fists and his murderous aura surged. He did not hide the murderous intent in the depths of his heart. This time, he was going to take action personally. This operation would definitely be foolproof. No matter what kind of illusion that kid was proficient in, it was nothing in front of absolute power. Let's go. We must set up an inescapable trap this time. We definitely won't give him any chance to leave alive. We will bury him outside the Devil Demon Palace. The six-armed lion demon Chapman said in a deep voice. Hearing this, the other fiendish demons nodded. This time, they must take revenge and teach that kid a lesson. They must let that bastard know that the Devil Demon Palace was not a place for a pretty boy like him. Chapter 2732. Swish. At this moment, Xia Ping left the Demon Divine Hall and the Rock Demon City. He immediately used teleportation and crossed through space, arriving near the Crouching Dragon Mountains in an instant. In reality, after obtaining Austin's memories, he had gained a certain level of understanding towards the abyss. In particular, Austin knew the geography near the Rock Demon City like the back of his hand. He did not need to look at a map at all. He could cross tens of thousands of kilometers with a single teleportation. According to the information, the wanted sand demon is here. But this mountain range seems to be very vast, so it's no wonder that no demonic demons can find it. Xia Ping stood in the air and looked at the surrounding mountain range. It was a huge mountain range that rose and fell. 100,000 mountains stood in the middle, one after another. They stretched endlessly, and the terrain was extremely complicated. Moreover, every single mountain seemed to contain special ores and powers that could block the senses of demonic souls. Even if regular demonic demons hid in the mountain range, they would probably struggle to find them. Searching for demonic demons here was like searching for a needle in a haystack. Not to mention, the sand demon was a demon condensed from sand. It could gather and disperse its body at will, so it could easily merge with the ground and turn into sand. How could a demon like that be found so easily? Who knew how many demonic demons had searched the Crouching Dragon Mountains in the past, but they had all returned empty-handed. Golden Crow of Hell, 9 heavens and 10 lands, show yourselves. Xia Ping used his Golden Crow of Hell's eyes, and the two eyes immediately began to revolve slowly. They enveloped a range of several tens of thousands of light years in an instant, like a three-dimensional image. Millions of streaks of golden light pierced through space like lasers. They pierced through space and permeated every corner, searching for demonic demons everywhere. Within his range of vision, the auras of demonic demons immediately appeared. They seemed to be the demonic demons hidden in the Crouching Dragon Mountains. In reality, the sand demon was not the only demonic demons in the mountain range. There were many other demonic demons that lived here as well. As a result, with the interference of the auras, it became even more difficult to find the sand demon. The search this time took a whole hour. Boom. At this moment, Xia Ping seemed to have sensed an unusual demonic aura on an ordinary piece of soil in a certain valley. It was extremely frightening. Although the gravel on the soil looked similar to other gravel, under the gaze of the Golden Crow's hell eye, there was no place for it to hide. He could see the tyrannical demonic soul energy of the other party. Without a doubt, the fiendish demon hiding in this place must be the wanted sand demon. This sand demon's strength had also reached the pinnacle of the near ancient realm, which was almost exactly as described in the report. In fact, its strength was even more terrifying than what the report had said. Clearly, the fiendish demons chasing after the sand devil had still underestimated it. After this period of killing and devouring the power of many fiendish demons, the strength of the sand devil had greatly improved compared to before. In fact, the fastest way for fiendish demons to improve their strength was through slaughter. By devouring the origin energy of other fiendish demons, they could quickly strengthen their own origin energy. This also meant that they didn't need to cultivate at all. Just killing was enough. However, ever since the fiendish demon palace had set a rule that they couldn't kill the innocent, they couldn't do this anymore. They could only devour the abyss demon chi obediently and cultivate. The problem was that many fiendish demons were already used to such cultivation methods. How could they stand such restrictions? Naturally, they fought back. They even secretly committed many crimes and killed many fiendish demons. This also allowed their strength to improve rapidly. So, it's hiding in this place. Since I found its real body, things will be easy. Xia Ping smiled. Without a doubt, with such an aura and a near-ancient realm cultivation, other than the sand demon on the wanted list, there couldn't be any other person. One had to admit that the sand demon's hiding ability was really strong. It could merge its body into the ground and turn into grains of gravel, blending into nature without making a sound. In this way, who could find the sand demon's real body? Even if one passed by the sand demon dozens of times, it would still be difficult to find it. Luckily, he had the Golden Crow's Hell Eye. No matter how strong the sand demon's hiding ability was, it couldn't hide from him. In the next second, his figure flashed. In an instant, he arrived at the top of a hill near the valley and looked down from above. At this moment, the sand demon hiding here naturally sensed the aura coming from Xia Ping. However, it still didn't move, thinking that Xia Ping was just a fiendish demon that happened to be passing by. In fact, such things would happen occasionally. However, these fiendish demons would only stay in this place for a short period of time before leaving quickly. It was impossible for them to notice its existence. To be honest, at this moment, its heart was a little restless. Its killing intent was rising, because in its perception, there were no other fiendish demons within a radius of hundreds of thousands of kilometers apart from this brat. Moreover, this brat was at most an immortal realm fiendish demon. If it was fast enough, it could kill this immortal realm fiendish demon in an instant. From there, it could devour the fiendish demon source of its life and death to strengthen its own strength. Vaguely, the countless grains of gravel on the ground seemed to be gathering together under the influence of the will of the desert. When the brat was careless, it would strike with a fatal blow. Domain of flowers, coma. In an instant, Xia Ping looked down from above. Without saying anything to the sand demon, he slapped the void with his palm. Boom! In an instant, with his body as the center, the area within a radius of tens of millions of kilometers was enveloped by the domain of flowers. The surrounding space-time was filled with a pervasive fragrance. This fragrance permeated the space-time and even the soul. It was everywhere. What's going on? Why is this place suddenly so fragrant? Damn it, my consciousness seems to be blurring? The sand demon, who was originally planning to deal a fatal blow to Xia Ping, did not know why, but at this moment, it felt like its body was surrounded by an omnipresent fragrance. After smelling this fragrance, it immediately felt dizzy. It was as though it was about to faint. Its soul seemed to be dragged into a world of flowers. No, I have to wake up. I can't fall asleep. As a sand demon, it instinctively warned itself that it was in mortal danger. However, it was of no use. The omnipresent fragrance had long seeped into its soul. In the next second, the figure of the sand demon immediately appeared from the ground. It lay on the ground and started snoring. Even if there were thunder and lightning, it would not wake up. Chapter 2733. At this moment, a fiendish demon appeared on the ground. It was 20 meters tall and was made of yellow sand. It had a nose, mouth, ears, hands, and feet. This was the famous sand demon. Even though it was unconscious, one could still feel the terrifying aura of death and heat emanating from the sand demon's body. It seemed that wherever it appeared, it would take away all life and water. In fact, even where it was hiding, the water in the surroundings would gradually be absorbed and evaporated by it. Over time, it would become desertified. Therefore, the sand demon would not hide for too long. After all, if it was too long, the place where it was hiding would definitely change and be discovered by other fiendish demons. As expected, the flower demon bloodline is indeed unusual. It's just a small test and I managed to capture this ferocious, evil, and extremely powerful sand demon so easily. Xia Ping stood on the spot and rubbed his chin. The Sand Devil had fallen into a deep slumber after being hit by Lin Li's flower domain. Perhaps the Sand Devil didn't even know that it had been captured. He had only used a portion of its power just now, and the Sand Demon that had been hiding from the Hall of Monsters and Demons for hundreds of years had fallen into his hands just like that. The battle had not even started. If other fiendish demons were to see this scene, they would be so shocked that they could not close their mouths. After all, the Sand Demon was a famous desert in the abyss. Its bloodline's magical powers were plunder, death, and devour. It was simply famous and was known as the god of death in the desert. Moreover, its elemental transformation ability gave it extremely strong life-saving abilities. Even if ordinary fiendish demons were stronger than it, they would not be able to kill it. But now, he had been captured by Xia Ping without a sound. It was really shocking. Of course, this was the supreme power of illusion. Even if it was a head-on battle, it would be able to suppress people of the same cultivation level. If it was a sneak attack, it would be even more powerful. There were not many people in the world who could resist it. This power of controlling smell can still be improved and excavated more space. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He suddenly thought of Monica's behavior. He guessed that the reason why Monica was so infatuated with him at this moment, aside from the fact that she was a perverted woman herself, it also had an inseparable relationship with the explosive power of his scent. This was because this kind of smell could increase the favorability of others. If one already had a favorable impression of them, then it could increase their favorability at a geometrical speed, almost reaching the maximum level. Just as Xia Ping was about to bring the Sand Demon back, he lifted his head and immediately sensed the presence of more than 20 strong demonic auras from all directions. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In the blink of an eye, 20 fiendish demons appeared around Xia Ping. Their strength was at least at the Middle Ancient Realm. In fact, there were even 3 immemorial Ancient Realm fiendish demons. These tyrannical demons were scattered all over the place. Their auras merged with each other, forming a restrictive array formation that enveloped the void, sealing off time and space from all directions. Under the effect of such a restrictive power, even ancient fiendish demons would not be able to escape from the seal of this restrictive array. At this moment, the area within a radius of millions of kilometers had become an absolute cage space. 6-armed lion demon Chapman? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows and looked at the leading ancient fiendish demon. According to Austin's memories, this lad was one of Monica's fanatical pursuers. He seemed to be Austin's nemesis. Austin had encountered this 6-armed lion demon Chapman several times in the past. Moreover, he had been secretly warned that if he continued to get close to Monica, he would definitely be in trouble. Combining what had happened previously and the murderous intent emanating from the 6-armed lion demon Chapman, he reckoned that the real Austin's death had something to do with this lad. Apart from the 6-armed lion demon Chapman, there were also 5 or 6 Middle Ancient fiendish demons that Xia Ping had seen in the alley. They were the murderers of Austin a few days ago. At this moment, these fiendish demons had gathered here and surrounded him completely. From the murderous intent emanating from them, it was obvious that they were here to kill him. Austin. The 6-armed lion demon Chapman squinted his eyes and looked at the unconscious sand demon on the ground. Then he looked at Xia Ping and said, "It seems like all the fiendish demons in the Rock Demon City, including me, have completely underestimated you. The infamous wanted criminal, Sand Devil, who had already reached the pinnacle of the Middle Ages, was actually defeated by you so easily. Your strength is far beyond our imagination. You really hit it well." Its face was gloomy. Even though it already knew that this lad was a cunning person who pretended to be weak, it was still infuriated to the point that it felt a stabbing pain in its lungs when it witnessed this scene. It was precisely because of its momentary mistake that it had embarrassed itself so much. Whenever it thought of this, it wished that it could tear this lad into pieces. "Austin, you lad, how dare you trick us?" One of the fiendish demons bellowed and glared at Xia Ping in anger. Seeing the infamous sand demon being subdued so easily by this lad in front of them and the strength that he had displayed was far beyond their imagination, how could they not know that they had indeed been fooled the previous time? With such a strong illusory power, how could he be killed so easily by them? Thinking of this, all of them were filled with grief and indignation as if they had been fooled. They simply wished that they could tear this lad into pieces in order to wash away this humiliation. Previously in the alley, you actually pretended to be so weak and let us kill you so easily. Turns out that everything was just an illusion. Seems like everything has been explained clearly. You bastard knew about the assassination long ago, but you purposely fell into our trap with the purpose of fooling us. You obviously have such a strong illusory power, but you still pretended to be a gigolo here. You're a trash that lives off a woman. What are you trying to do, bastard? Your acting is really realistic. The screams when you die, the begging before you die, and the life and death battle during the battle. Even we, the old and cunning fiendish demons, were fooled by it. How many people has this bastard fooled? Do you take pleasure in fooling other fiendish demons? Many fiendish demons gritted their teeth and glared at Xia Ping angrily. They had been in the abyss for so many years, but they had never suffered such humiliation. This was the first time. Especially when they recalled that after they killed this lad, they left in high spirits and announced it to everyone. They did not expect to be slapped in the face the next morning. This made them feel even more aggrieved. Huh. Xia Ping blinked his eyes. He was a little confused, not knowing what these fiendish demons were talking about. Chapter 2734. However, what kind of person was Xia Ping? He didn't understand at first, but when he saw the expressions of the demons and thought of what happened earlier, he immediately understood. These demons probably didn't know how Austin was resurrected, so they started to imagine that they were under an illusion and thought that Austin was dead. That was why they had such a misunderstanding. And these demons also saw the famous sand demon get killed by him, so they naturally suspected that they were pretending to be weak to eat the tiger. When they thought of this, they became even more furious. They simply wanted to tear Xia Ping into pieces. Why are you so angry? You should be glad. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and said calmly, "Last time, I used a small trick to make you fall into an illusion and unable to escape, but I didn't kill you. You should be grateful. However, I spared your lives, but you don't know how to be grateful. You actually dared to bring so many demons here. Seems like you really think your lives are too long." Bullshit. One of the fiendish demons roared angrily, "You're just a scum who knows how to use illusions, a bastard who hides in the dark to launch sneak attacks. How dare you say something like that? Are you being merciful? You don't even have the confidence to fight us head-on, that's why you used such a sneak attack. If we really fight, I can crush you with one hand." That's right. You're just a little flower demon, a gigolo who only knows how to live off a woman. How dare you speak to us so loudly? You really don't know how to write the word death. Let me tell you the truth. We've mobilized a lot of people to come here today and sealed off the void in all directions. No matter what kind of trick you use, you won't be able to leave this place today. Just accept your death. Even if all the demons descend, they won't be able to save you now. All the demons glared at Xia Ping with murderous intent. "Austin, go to hell." At this moment, the six-armed devil lion Kidman let out a furious roar. It couldn't take it anymore. The killing intent on its body had almost reached the peak, to the extent that it could shake the void. Bloodline Mystique, six-armed demon fist. In the blink of an eye, the six arms of the six-armed devil lion Chapman blasted out at the same time. It seemed like every hand was forming a seal. This was the supreme demonic seal from the abyss, and it possessed unparalleled destructive power. On its back, the six arms were constantly moving, seemingly ever-changing, turning into hundreds and thousands of illusory arms. It was as if it had transformed into the thousand-armed Buddha. An extremely terrifying aura burst forth from the body of the six-armed lion devil Chapman. It was as if he had activated the terrifying energy of the abyss origin, forming a tide. "Quick, retreat. We can't get close to Lord Chapman." Seeing this, many of the fiendish demons were astounded. They knew that this was one of the strongest bloodline skills of the six-armed demonic lion tribe. These 6 arms could unleash supreme demonic seals and draw upon the power of the abyss origin. They were ever-changing and could increase the strength of one's body by more than 10 times. Each arm was a peak expert. One arm controlled wind, one arm controlled fire, one arm controlled time, one arm restricted space, and so on. It was as if these demonic seals were suppressing time and space in all directions, causing it to come to a standstill. Then hundreds and thousands of arms slammed down. It was the power of hundreds and thousands of people attacking at the same time. Then, the power gathered together and could even destroy the void. When the 6-armed lion devil unleashed this bloodline mystique, it was as if he had fought everywhere and killed countless fiendish demons. This was also the reason why the 6-armed lion devil was known for its prowess. Interesting. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He could also feel how powerful the 6-armed lion devil Chapman was. When all 6 arms were unleashed, they seemed to have restricted time, space, wind, fire, water, earth, and so on. This punch had the power to shatter the void. Moreover, the strength of the 6-armed lion devil Chapman had reached the peak of the primordial era. He had completely comprehended the laws of creation and was just a step away from advancing to the primordial era realm. One could imagine how powerful the 6-armed lion devil Chapman was. He could definitely be considered as a peak expert of the Devil Demon Palace in the Rock Demon City. Flower domain, flower petals scatter. However, Xia Ping was neither happy nor sad. He didn't unleash the power of his main body. He merely used the power of the flower demon. After all, this was the territory of the fiendish demons from the abyss. Many experts were constantly paying attention to this place. If he exposed something that surpassed the power of the flower demon, it would probably arouse the suspicion of the kings of the abyss. No matter how weak it was, he had to isolate the possibility of exposure. Of course, the most important reason was that the bloodline power of the flower demon was more than enough to deal with the 6-armed lion devil Chapman. He had long been in an invincible position. Whoosh, in an instant, the domain of transformation on his body was shrouded in a radius of 10 million kilometers. Thousands of red petals appeared on the ground. They emitted a fragrant scent that permeated the space. And every petal was an avatar of Xia Ping. They were illusory and real, real and fake. At this moment, it seemed to have become a domain world between the illusory and the real. In the next second, the 6-armed lion devil Chapman's fist blasted over. It landed on Xia Ping's body and instantly shattered his body. Unfortunately, this was just his flower avatar. Even if this punch was extremely powerful, it could only shatter a dozen of his flower avatars. This was the second usage of the domain of flowers. It could create countless avatars that were illusory and real. Ordinary demons couldn't see through his real body at all and could come and go as they pleased. Damn it! The 6-armed lion devil Chapman's eyes were almost spewing fire. He was furious. He was confident that his punch would win, but it only landed on this kid's avatar. This made him feel sullen, as if he had punched cotton. Such a powerful avatar technique. Many demons widened their eyes in shock. This was the first time they saw the flower demon using his full strength. Just a single blow had shocked them. He was definitely one of the top experts in the abyss. Even they could feel the fatal pressure and aura. 6-armed lion devil Chapman, you really don't know what's good for you. I didn't attack you just now because I wanted to avoid some trouble. That's why I let you live until now. Now, you actually dare to attack me. Do you really think I don't dare to kill you? Xia Ping's voice spread in all directions and reverberated back and forth. However, many demons still couldn't tell where Xia Ping's real body was. Austin, how dare you show off in front of me with such insignificant tricks? What nonsense, Avatar! Let me shatter all of you with one punch. Let's see where you can hide then. The 6-armed lion devil Chapman was even more furious. Chapter 2735. Bloodline Divine Ability, Immemorial Demonic Lion Roar. In an instant, the 6-armed devil lion Chapman stood on the ground and roused the huge amount of abyssal power within his body. His 6 arms dangled on the ground, seemingly forming a hexagonal frame. His body breathed in and out, and a huge amount of abyssal power was rapidly brewing. It seemed to form a terrifying vortex in the depths of his dantian before bursting out. Roar! In an instant, a terrifying demonic lion roar burst out of his body and seemed to form frightening sound waves. They condensed into substance and permeated the void, causing ripples to appear in the surrounding spacetime. The surrounding fiendish demons were all aghast. They could feel the terrifying sound wave energy erupting from the 6-armed lion devil Chapman's body. If they were hit by this lion devil roar, not only their bodies, but even their souls would be shattered. This was the frightening power of the 6-armed devil lion Chapman. In the abyss, good-for-nothing children couldn't show their faces. Strength was what mattered. If they weren't strong enough, even their parents would abandon these weak descendants. They would never admit that they were weak. This was the cruelty of the abyss. And the 6-armed devil lion Chapman was one of the most outstanding descendants. His strength was obvious to all in the monster palace, otherwise, he wouldn't have been followed by so many monsters. Just this demonic lion roar wasn't something an ordinary ancient sage could compare to. Sound wave power? Seeing the 6-armed devil lion Chapman using his bloodline divine ability, Xia Ping chuckled. This was really showing off in front of Confucius, showing off in front of Guan Yu, and he actually dared to use a sound wave divine ability in front of him. He was simply courting death. If he burst out with his true strength, he might be able to instantly kill the 6-armed devil lion Chapman. But even if he used the power of the flower demon, he could easily deal with this monster. Flower domain, cherry blossoms, myriad swords returned to origin. Xia Ping stood in place. Rumble. At that moment, the entire world changed drastically. It was enveloped in a boundless flower domain. Countless cherry blossom petals fell from the sky. They were pink and extremely beautiful, exuding the aura of spring. What? However, many of the fiendish demons felt their hair stand on end. They could completely feel the beauty of this flower domain. They could only feel the endless killing intent from the falling petals. It seemed as though every single petal contained an extremely terrifying sword energy. The sword energy of the cherry blossom was filled with boundless killing intent. It contained the power of the laws of karma, life and death, space-time, destruction, vibration, destruction, and many others. It was as if one's soul would immediately be destroyed if one was struck by the sword. However, countless cherry blossom petals rained down from the sky. They were countless terrifying sword auras. Such sword auras were enough to shatter everything. Bang, bang, bang. However, they did not have the time to react at all. Countless petals fell from the sky like a violent storm, bombarding the 6-armed lion demon Chapman's body. In the blink of an eye, the terrifying primordial demonic lion roar was torn to pieces by the hundreds of millions of cherry blossom sword chi. The surrounding space shattered like glass and turned into powder. Damn it! The 6-armed lion devil Chapman's expression changed drastically. He discovered that the sword chi that was as dazzling as cherry blossoms was incomparably terrifying. It was everywhere and indestructible. If it were to land on his body, it would probably turn into powder. Abyssal superpower, 1,000-armed lion demonic palm. He let out a loud roar and his 6 arms danced wildly. They seemed to have turned into a circle. In an instant, they seemed to have transformed into hundreds and thousands of hands, forming a unique chi circle. This chi circle enveloped his huge body, leaving no gaps. This was the 6-armed lion demon's defensive ultimate skill. Once it was performed, it would be independent of time and space. It was simply invulnerable. Dong dong dong. Immediately, hundreds of millions of cherry blossom sword chi bombarded down like raindrops. All of them bombarded the 6-armed lion demon Chapman's body, exploding with terrifying sword chi prowess. The ground he was standing on was completely unable to withstand such terrifying destructive power. In an instant, a crater that was millions of kilometers deep was shaken out. Cracking sounds rang out, gravel flew in all directions, and cracks spread out. Meanwhile, the chi circle that the six-armed lion demon Chapman had unleashed was hit to the point where cracks appeared. Bang bang sounds rang out, and countless fine cracks appeared. At the same time, his vital energy and blood were boiling, almost unable to withstand it. It was as if his skin had been shaken to the point where countless bloody scars had appeared. Even though he had barely withstood it, his internal organs had been severely injured. It can't be, right? How can Austin's strength be so terrifying? An ancient demon was dumbfounded. Xia Ping's performance had totally changed his view of the world. To be honest, if they had known that this lad's strength was so terrifying, they wouldn't have offended him. Damn that Austin. He's too despicable. To think that he had been pretending to be weak all along. If we hadn't chased him, we wouldn't have known that he had hidden his strength so deeply. What realm is he at? Is he at the Middle Ancient or Immemorial Ancient realm? The other ancient fiendish demon gnashed his teeth. He could even beat Chapman up to this state. Without a doubt, he must be an Immemorial Ancient realm demon. Damn him. He's clearly an ancient demon, but he still pretended to be an immortal demon. Why is he hiding his strength? What is he plotting? We have to capture him and interrogate him to find out his intentions and background. Many abyss demons gritted their teeth. They felt that they had been completely fooled by this lad. This lad had hidden his strength too deeply. It was the kind that was unfathomable. At the same time, an even stronger killing intent surged in their hearts. They had offended such a terrifying demon. If they didn't get rid of him now, they would be in deep trouble in the future. This time, they were the ones ganging up on this lad. Next time, it would probably be this lad ganging up on them. No matter what, they had to grab hold of this opportunity to kill this lad and bury him here. Oh no, Lord Chapman is in danger. Suddenly, an ancient demon's hair stood up. He seemed to have sensed that Chapman was in great danger. He wanted to help, but it was too late. Under the gazes of all the abyssal demons, the countless cherry blossom sword energies fell. After a dozen rounds of attacks, they completely shattered the defense of the six-armed lion devil Chapman and shattered the chi sphere on his body. However, before the six-armed lion demon Chapman could do anything to defend himself, Xia Ping approached Chapman silently. His body merged into the void and surpassed the speed of light. Bastard! The six-armed lion demon's hair stood up. He felt a fatal danger. This was the life and death of an ancient pinnacle demon. He couldn't help but roar. All the muscles in his body swelled up and his strength multiplied. Chapter 2736. At this moment, the six-armed lion demon Chapman was giving it his all. It was as though he had cast the Sky Fiend Burning Blood technique. Even his soul power was ignited in order to fight to the death with Xia Ping. At such a critical juncture, he couldn't say anything. He could only fight to the death and defeat this terrifying flower demon. It's too late to struggle. With a swoosh, Xia Ping arrived in front of the six-armed lion devil Chapman silently. He looked at Chapman indifferently and pointed his finger at Chapman's forehead. Supreme Mystique, Indra Finger. This finger contained the power of the law of karma and the law of life and death. Its power was boundlessly terrifying and could destroy time and space. No mystique could measure the power of this finger. This finger seemed to contain the power of the god of the underworld. It was also because of this terrifying power of death that the six-armed lion demon Chapman was so terrified. He instantly cast the Sky Fiend Burning Blood technique in order to survive. The problem was that even though he knew this, he couldn't dodge or block it. This was a sure kill attack. This finger tapped on Chapman's forehead lightly. The terrifying power of the law of karma and the law of life and death immediately caused Chapman's body to explode. No! The six-armed lion demon Chapman let out a shrill scream. His eyes were filled with terror, fear, regret, begging for mercy, unwillingness, and other emotions. He was already extremely regretful. If he had known that this flower demon was so terrifying, he wouldn't have dared to provoke it. Wasn't he courting his own death? However, it was too late for him to know this. There was no medicine for regret now. Boom! In an instant, the power of Indra's finger completely exploded, and in the next second, the six-armed lion demon Chapman's body and soul exploded from the finger, turning into powder and disappearing into void space. At the same time, this finger also broke all the karma of the six-armed lion demon Chapman. It shattered the scene of time and space. Even if an invincible saint came to investigate, he wouldn't be able to find the cause of his death. It was as though the six-armed lion demon Chapman had vanished in this abyss. Lord Chapman? Many abyssal demons widened their eyes and couldn't help but scream. Even though abyssal demons were heartless creatures, they knew what it meant to grieve when the rabbit died. When they saw Chapman die tragically in the hands of this flower devil, they couldn't help but be filled with boundless rage. Damn you, Austin. You actually dared to kill Lord Chapman. You're courting death. Kill this kid and avenge Lord Chapman. Attack together. Surround him. Don't give him any chance to escape. Many abyssal demons were seething with killing intent. They had already decided to use all their strength to swarm up and tear this brat to pieces. They would definitely not give Xia Ping any chance to escape. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In just an instant, these abyssal demons attacked from all directions. Abyssal domains erupted from their bodies at the same time. Or perhaps it was the domain of darkness. It was as if it had plundered all light, absorbed all sound, and swallowed everything. Or perhaps it was the domain of flames. It was filled with terrifying abyssal demon flames that could burn everything. Any living creature that entered it would be swallowed up by the abyssal demon flames and turned into ashes. Or perhaps it was the domain of ice. Strong winds howled and snow swirled. The temperature was extremely low, as though it had reached the realm of absolute zero. Cold air filled the air and froze time and space. The might of these demon domains was extremely terrifying. As they came crashing down one after another, even the six-armed lion demon Chapman wouldn't be able to withstand it. He would be killed instantly and dismembered. This was the terrifying might of dozens of abyssal demons joining forces at the same time. It was enough to crush any ancient demon. The might that erupted from them was even more terrifying. You've already stepped into my domain. Go back to sleep. Xia Ping stood on the spot and looked at these abyssal demons calmly. Boom. In an instant, the flower domain on his body erupted. It was extremely terrifying and powerful. It completely replaced the domains of these abyssal demons and enveloped the space and time in all directions. The radius of 10 million kilometers instantly turned into a world of flowers. It was filled with an enchanting fragrance. This fragrance permeated every corner of these abyssal demons' bodies and even their souls. Oh no, why did the power in my body suddenly disappear? Many abyssal demons' expressions changed and they panicked. They suddenly discovered that they had lost all their strength. It was as though all their divine abilities had disappeared. They couldn't use any abyssal divine ability. If they didn't have abyssal divine abilities and abyssal demonic power, they would simply be lambs waiting to be slaughtered. How could they contend against this terrifying flower devil Austin? How could such a ridiculous thing happen? What a joke. Why did it disappear? It's very simple. Because you've already fallen into my illusion. Xia Ping faintly smiled and looked at these abyssal demons. With a snap of his fingers, countless cherry blossoms danced in the air and merged into the bodies of these abyssal demons. With a plop, these abyssal demons simply didn't know what was happening. They were like pieces of wood. They fainted on the ground and started snoring. Some of the abyssal demons were even snoring peacefully, as though they were having a good dream. As expected of the flower devil's bloodline power. This ability to control scent and cast illusions is silent and almost invincible. Xia Ping instantly sighed. Originally, dealing with these abyssal demons would require a lot of effort. After all, if the situation was not good, these abyssal demons might flee. Or they might even be reduced to nothing. There would always be a few of these demons that managed to escape, and some would escape. Or even if they didn't escape, if they fought to the death with him and self-destructed their bodies, it would cause a lot of trouble. However, with the flower domain and the scent illusion art, these abyss demons could be subdued in an instant. No matter how powerful they were, they couldn't resist the unconscious aura. Moreover, because of the smell, they were unable to detect anything and possessed an extremely strong concealment ability. It could be said that if this bloodline mystic ability was developed, its power would be extraordinary. While Alec thinking of this, Xia Ping waved his hand and immediately captured the dozens of unconscious abyssal demons on the ground, including the six-armed lion devil Chapman. He planned to throw them all to the world tree and let it devour the corpses of these abyssal demons. He believed that the energy contained in these abyssal demons would definitely benefit the world tree greatly. It might even allow the world tree to grow further. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.